There we go.
Welcome, everybody. First budget meeting. We'll be covering, well, we're gonna begin with the library, because Karen would like to
Go home,
get
deal
this
with
one
it.
finished.
Oh, well, I didn't come to present it because I'm working on what I was given here, and I thought maybe, I mean, as you know, I highly support what was proposed, but I thought maybe you had questions on why we had proposed what we did. I know someone may have a concern about two things. One was, which aside from the 2% increase for salaries, would have made an increase in the bottom line. One of which was a $2,000 expenditure for a temporary aid for summer help. Our numbers have increased phenomenally in the summertime. It's gotten extremely busy. With two staff people working, we try to have it so that we have a volunteer, and that seems to be a challenge these days, is getting a volunteer to come, especially in the evening, and especially one that's committed to coming on a regular basis. So there are more times than I would like where we have to have a paid staff person, two staff people working at the same time. It's not a situation that I am particularly in favor of, but it necessitates it because one person certainly can't handle the influx of people that you have using the computers and looking for books and having questions and issues, especially during the summertime.
Is there a requirement to have two people here when you're open?
Not a requirement, but we have always made it a policy, especially in the evening, not to have one person working alone, especially at closing time.
Especially not this time of year when it gets dark earlier.
Right, and in the summertime, we're open every night.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, an extra person for those busy times, just like the highway department, I think might have extra temporary. I know in the village we hire temporary help for the summertime. I feel that it would be a great advantage to us. If we had the luxury of having a tremendous amount of volunteers, that'd be wonderful. But we don't. The volunteers that we did have were very good. How do I say it? Like, it's an aging population. Need I say more? It's an aging population. And for one reason or another, it gets harder and harder for them to commit to volunteering, and we're not getting the young people to volunteer as much as we would like to. It is what it is. I don't know the answer to that. So that is why we had requested a temporary aid for the summer months. And it was $2,000. That's what that $2,000 was put in for. The other thing that that temporary person could be doing is, once the busy season is done, we like to do an inventory of our collection so that we are not paying for items sitting on our shelf that are dormant and not being circulated, because we pay per item, we pay per circulation to sales, and if that can be done as soon as the busy season is over, it's a time-consuming thing, but it probably takes about 4 to 5 weeks at the most to get done. But that extra person, again, without having that volunteer to sit at the desk, the staff person and or the extra person that we have, that we're paying, could get that job done. And that would increase the efficiency of not having to pay on a long-term basis for things that we don't have sitting, that we're sitting on our shelves and we're not circulating. The other question was on the does anybody have any questions on that particular aspect?
You have a tentative schedule of hours you're gonna hire the new aide for? You have an idea?
No, probably looking at what our busy hours are in the summer, and is it in morning, is it the afternoon, is it the evening? I think we would try to find somebody who can fit into those time slots.
So somebody will analyze that information.
Exactly, and we do have that information. When is it the most busy in the summertime?
Okay.
A lot of our patrons come from Camp of the Woods, the Lift kids, the staff there. There's a large influx of them who come here to use the computers, and their time slots are generally later in the afternoon and the evening when they're coming in, because they're busy during the day doing their duties over there. But we do have that data and we can work that out.
Good.
Anybody else have a question on that? The other line was the continuation of the $3,000 for the computers. Yeah, we have to buy our computers from Sal's. We use a group buy from them. I do have a price list of what those computers cost. We currently have 9 public computers, which, if you've been here again in the summertime, and I hate to keep saying we're doing this only for the summertime, but that's when we are utilized the most. Do we budget because of that summertime usage? Yes, no. I don't, that is something that you'd have to determine if that's worth it or not. We've always had 10 public computers, we're down to 9. Can we do with 9? Probably. We probably can do with 9. We buy as a group buy from Sal's. They have to be purchased from them because of the software that's installed. Being on the Sal's board, and Nancy knows this because she's on the board as well, they're very in tune to privacy issues. The software there is formulated so that every night it can be cleaned up with a certain amount of data that's been put into it during that day. And when those computers are turned back off warranty, we have to give them back when they're off warranty. They have to completely destroy all the hard drives, and nothing can be sold or utilized after that. So we can't keep that computer after its warranty. No library is recommended to keep a computer after warranty because the Joint Automation Council, which is the organization that handles our computer and our software, will not service computers after that time. So we have a rotating basis that every year during the group buy time, we will purchase 1 or 2 computers from them. In that purchase period, we also look at whether or not we need new printers. We have printers and scanners. Our public printer is used extensively. People love to come in here, they print their email, they print things off the internet. That printer gets a lot of use.
Do you charge?
We do charge, but it's not gonna pay for, I think it's 10 cents a page or something like that we charge for it. Yes, we do charge for it. If we could put that in a little pot and say how much do we have, and I don't have that figure, I'd like to know how much did we get from printing. I don't know. I actually don't know what that figure is, but we do charge for printing.
It goes into the library charges line.
Into the charges?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, so it does, I mean, yes.
Right,
What was
but
that?
it's $679.
Okay.
$680, but
Yeah.
how much of that is fines and how
Oh,
much
that's
of
true.
that is
It's not
printing?
broken up.
Yeah.
Actually, it'd be good to know that. The other thing that is getting old is that we need a new receipt reader. Those are the receipts that we have to give people to show that they've paid their overfine dues, what their book is that they're taking out, when it's brought back, that type of a thing. Ours is 10 years old right now. That's going to need to be replaced at a cost of, I think, $235 she had here. We also have a scanner printer if somebody needs to come in, which is a little bit different than the regular printer. And there is a printer also in Sherry's room that she uses extensively for printing minutes of the meeting, anything that the staff itself needs to be printed that's out of a public nature. So although we do have, I think, $400, we have $435 remaining in the current budget line, which of the $3,000. If we were to replace our oldest public computer and a black and white printer scanner during our next buy period, that would bring us over by, we would be over that, obviously over $435. I have a cost sheet of what all of those printers, and again, you can go to Walmart and you can buy a computer for like $69. We also have certain iPads that we want to increase that people can use if they want to. When it gets really busy here in the summertime and you've got to stand in line, people sign up on a sheet for the use of the computers. We have a service where we offer that we will give somebody an iPad that they can use and sign out and use that if they want to. That also has to be turned into Sal's when it's retired so that no data can be extrapolated from there for use by anybody else.
How many of those do we have?
2.
2 of them?
So, for example, I'm just going to pick one thing here. Here's a staff, could they make this writing any smaller? A staff PC with a monitor, which includes the software, $751. We don't always buy a new monitor. A public one with a monitor was $772. So it adds up, and it's okay to have a few dollars. Is the $3,000 a little high? Maybe a little high. Is it a lot high? No. We have $400 some left this year, so it runs close. So it's a good approximation of what we need. So those really, when I look at the other figures, they all pretty much stay the same. The library office and supply line is decreased by $1,000, but all I noticed was made a miscellaneous line of $1,000, so that's a wash. That came out exactly even. Aside from that,
Why was that again?
I don't know.
Nancy explained it.
I don't know why.
Sherry would know exactly the reason why she felt that it didn't fit into the office supplies. I don't know. She just requested having a separate line made for miscellaneous. And the bottom line is the same. It would be the same
Right.
amount. It would just be spread out to a different line, which wasn't put on this yet because it just wasn't yet.
Yeah. I can't see taking anything off of library travel and training. We have wonderful workshops at SALS. Many of those are free. We want Tanisha to take advantage of more of those, so that really would come into a lot of the travel that she has, even though the programs are free. The travel expense back and forth, those are not free. I don't know what other question that you might have on any of these lines, but basically it's an increase of the two, leaving the 3,000 as is, and the increase of the two, everything else in the 2% increase in the salaries.
We get donations to the library.
We do get some donations to the library, not big donations, but we do get some donations. Many of them have a caveat of strings attached to them. I know some personally that were attached that come every year that they would like this money to be used for collection. I would like this money to be used for furniture. The person who bought the furniture in the children's room was a donation. The person who bought our refrigerator was all donated money as well. But
Accounting wise, that goes back to the town in an account.
Yeah,
Right.
the donations, yes.
Okay.
Also, I'd like to clarify something that was said at the last town board meeting about the monies that we received from Friends of the Library. The library itself received $125 for the Utica Zoomobile program. The town received $4,000 for the paving of the side of the building, and Sal's received $2,000 for the e-books. And that was sent directly to Sal's. This library will benefit from that if our patrons do take out e-books from here. But as far as a direct donation, it was only the $125 that I had stated previously.
And like I say, most of the donations that we receive are not carte blanche donations where somebody comes in and says, well, here's $500 or $100, we would just like to give it to the library. The significant donations have been used with a targeted objective in mind, and they've been used for that. And we are very grateful for those people.
Nancy, you know the difference between the unclassified revenue, Hamlin County, for $2,000 versus the miscellaneous revenue?
Oh, that's what we get from the county. That's what we get from
The county, we get that, I believe it's through the state, and it gets filtered down to Hamilton County, and they've been very generous with us, but it varies. It's usually around 2,000. Which one was it? The miscellaneous revenue? That 2,000. Oh, I did look that up. Give me a sec, I'll figure that one out. What that?
I mean, we're not forecasting anything for next year, but. we got a
No,
couple
because
grand.
that varies dramatically,
Okay.
but let me
That's
see.
county aid. Every year at the SAL's meeting, they will announce what each county has allocated to their library, those that are in the SAL system, not everybody's in the SAL system. Saratoga County, for example, is extremely generous to their library system. They have more than one library in Saratoga, so they divide that up. I don't know offhand what Indian Lake got in revenue from the county, but obviously we're always very thankful that the county,
Mhm.
they don't have to.
In fact, I just
They
wrote a
don't have
letter to the county asking
Yeah.
for them to continue being generous.
You got a positive response?
Not yet.
Not yet.
But actually, I haven't mailed it yet. I just typed it today. That miscellaneous is for Little League reimbursement for Legos. There was monies given to
That's
Dicky for the Little League that kind of went poof. So he donated it to the Lego Club for the school kids that come
Which
here
is
to
very
do
popular.
Lego Club to purchase Legos. That was $539, and then the other one says grant money of $1,530.
Is that the ALCA grant?
That's what
It's
it
the
is.
ALCA grant. That's the
That's
ALCA
the
grant
ALCA
that's
grant.
used for, that's what they're working on in the other room right now, is the application for the ALCA grant, Adirondack Lake Center for the Arts grant. You apply for that, you do a presentation as to what you want to use the money for. What you get is usually a percentage less of what you had asked for, but, you know.
Yeah, and it depends
Yeah.
on I did ALCA grants for a pretty good band.
Oh,
for
that's
Mountain
right,
Arts,
that's right.
And
And it's been going
here,
down every
yeah.
year.
And it really depends on how many organizations
Applicants, right,
apply,
right,
and it's just
yeah.
like any other grant program, it's,
Yeah.
yeah, that could be
And they always hold that at the town hall, majority of the time. They've been doing
the
that.
informational
Yeah, yeah.
meeting, yeah. I'm not sure when that
Well,
is.
now, in order to even be considered for the grant, you have to attend a program and do a poster presentation of what you intend to do with the money. Last year, Amy Peters went up to Lake Placid, I believe it was, and did the presentation, on PowerPoint presentation as to what we were gonna do with the money, and just had it running on the computer for other
They-
people.
yeah,
It's a
they-
regular little
They
seminar type
require
of a
that
thing
now.
that
They're
they
giving you
have.
money.
Yeah, they don't still,
You
they
need-
Yeah.
still give you the money anymore.
Which is
You've
good on
gotta-
their part.
Yeah,
you know, which is fine. Well, they wanna know what their money is being used for.
Absolutely, you should have-
It's not give us $1,000, then we'll decide what to do with it. They wanna know what concrete program you are going to do with it, which is right. I don't blame them for doing that.
Right.
I think it's fine.
That's the
so,
way it works with Friends too. Friends wants to know exactly, if Friends raises some money and wants to give money,
Mhm,
it's tailored to specific
mhm,
programs or
Mhm.
items or.
mhm. It's targeted.
and, yeah, that miscellaneous revenue line could be zero
Mhm,
next year. We
Right.
have no way of knowing.
mhm.
I'm good.
Any other questions that you might have on any of those lines?
How many hours will this 4529 for library summer aid fund?
As far as those hours will go,
Well, how much do you pay an hour?
what is it, what do we pay per hour? What
It's
is
like
your?
$11.
$11,
It isn't-
do
No
the
one's
math.
gonna get rich on
Yeah,
it, I
no.
promise.
No, so, I did, just there you go, divide it up, you've got a calculator right there. I'd like to know that too. If you were to pay somebody $11 an hour.
Ish.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's a ballpark.
I haven't
Down
done
to
payroll in a long
411
time.
hours.
Okay, all right.
So
Divide that by 12 weeks. That'll give you a number of hours per week.
34 hours a week.
34 hours, that'd be great.
If you can get somebody for 11.
You're right, exactly.
How
You're
much
right.
is the current aid making, do you know?
Offhand, I do not know per hour what what Tanisha's, it wouldn't be any.
We get high schoolers that apply for that, or,
Anybody who's got working papers that can work it would be great.
I mean, in the past, have we utilized high school?
We had a
We-
young woman this past summer, very young.
Yeah,
I can't remember who it was right now.
That is Rogers, she doesn't live here, she comes here for a short period of time.
Right.
It's
Mhm.
your
My
niece?
Yep.
Your niece.
Yeah. She comes
Great.
from Colorado.
She comes from
Emily.
Colorado, she's a fantastic worker,
And
she's
she's
great.
13.
And the other one we have that's a fantastic worker that we can't pay, that's a volunteer, is
Jacob.
Roger Blanchard's oldest son. Does
Jacob.
a great job.
Jacob.
Unbelievable.
An asset.
But we,
Right.
yeah.
But
And he-
again,
But he's very young.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's very young, he's not old enough to have working
Yeah, I
papers.
think Emily's 13 and I think
He's a volunteer.
14.
He's
Believe
a
it,
volunteer.
He's a
His
volunteer.
oldest son is Trevor, so
No, I
He
meant
was
of the
nice.
3 boys, of the
Oh,
of the 3
okay.
children, of the.
the
of
nephews.
The 3,
Yeah.
yeah, the 3
Okay.
kids.
He's phenomenal. His
I
phone
think,
skills are.
I think it is very sad that we don't get more high school volunteers who can use this as a
Credit.
resume or for either being
National
on the
Honor
National
Society,
Society,
Mhm.
college applications, what have you done for volunteer service? We've been to the school, we've talked to the guidance counselor down at Wells, approached students.
Okay,
I don't know.
but it's
In an
formally
ideal,
presented.
exactly, in an ideal world, it's a great opportunity for a student to do that.
And Karen, you said the library office and library supplies line is going up because of the new
No.
computer and a new
No,
printer?
no,
No.
it's not, no, I was addressing the fact that I would like the computer line to stay as is and not be reduced at all.
Well,
And
that's
somebody-
down here.
Right, it is, but someone had a question as to why it is what it is. The one that was, this one went down, this 46, from 4620 decreased by 1,000 because as Nancy had said, Sherry
That's
had
not on ours,
requested
Karen.
this.
That could be part of the confusion because
Oh,
those
I
new
don't-
lines were
this is all
not
I
made
have.
yet.
Is that this $1,000
They're not even
be
included
put
on there.
on
yet
it,
then.
yeah.
It is
line
included,
430.
it is
Yeah, be
included,
put
but
on
it's
a miscellaneous.
included
And included as a separate line item.
as
As
five,
As a
as
miscellaneous. So
5,000.
it was no
under-
change.
Yeah.
It was the same amount of money, just taking $1,000 from there and making another line with 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
The only really new line is the one for the temporary aid, which is an
Okay,
increase
so the
of 2.
1,000, I'm sorry, I'm
there's
so
no-
slow,
no,
but the
that's a-
1,000 is
no.
going down to where?
Just a miscellaneous, Sherry had requested that libraries, that there be a miscellaneous line as a subcategory of library office and library supplies. Where
Oh,
this would,
okay.
see what I mean? Yeah,
All right.
just breaking it up.
So you're adding right
So
under
why
that
did that
another
go up?
budget
Right.
line.
Right. But it doesn't change the bottom, it doesn't
That
change the
could be why.
bottom figure at all.
Why it's
I just wasn't
confusing.
following you before.
Right, okay.
That's my sheet. The sheet
And
that
I
you
think
did,
the
Mark,
reason, and
has
just,
library and office supplies
just
going
by,
from.
by my idea, is so that we can use things for
I-
that, like
I
the-
added
out of that 1,000, for like we have
$1,900 to
the
that
trunk
line
of treats coming up.
for Sherry Mark.
If we don't get
Matthews
good
Insurance
volunteers who give us
okay.
like cider
That
and
goes into-
candy,
That's on my
and we
budget
do
note
the
sheets, I
teal
believe.
pumpkin
That
project
goes on
for
payroll.
kids that
line.
have food allergies,
Because
we
it
don't
has to
give
be
them,
paid on
we
payroll,
try to
right.
show them that you
I
don't, you can
understand,
have
but
fun
I
without
didn't-
having food.
Right.
We buy
I didn't know why
supplies,
it
we
was
buy,
payroll versus
stuff that kids like.
offsetting insurance.
the kids
Because
like,
it's evil.
Do you
Because
have
they-
people
you
that
get
are not
you
in the
get
village that
charged
come to trunk or treat?
we do.
Oh, good.
It
Because I
comes
gotta
out
say,
They
people in the
are-
village are shelling out.
We are overwhelmed.
money for
that-
the IRS.
We are overwhelmed.
I could
with
never
people that-
understand
the
that
kids
when I
come in
was
that
getting
night.
it.
Kids, I have no idea.
That's good.
But they do come, they all get a book, they all get, we have we have a
Mhm.
trunk of books that they can get out of. It's a pretty successful event. But we sometimes have to spend some money on that one. So I have a feeling that might be why she would like to segregate that $1,000.
That could be.
Because it's not really supplies, but yet it's stuff that we might have to purchase if we don't
Mhm.
get the donations of the candy or the non-food items that we would like for that night.
Yeah, and it's not,
We
probably
just
not
have to go
only
out.
for that, but for other.
Right, I
for
mean,
other
yeah, just as an
programs.
example, it's like stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we need to get stuff, and yet we don't have, where do you get it from? Well, take it off the miscellaneous line, you know, stuff. So,
According to the numbers, so you're proposing a 7.6% increase over this
I
year.
did not do the math, but
I did.
that you did.
7.6%.
7.6, and that includes the 2,000, the 2% increase in the salary, and,
Sherry Matthew, insurance buyout.
well, yes, because you have to factor that all in. Would and I don't know if you've gotten to that or not, but do all town employees get the same percentage of raises, or do you have a staggering, do you have a sliding scale of pay increases per
There's a
year?
wage and step schedule, which is separate from the from our
So
raise.
we're talking COLA though, so we're.
This is
doing-
COLA from the beginning of the
2%.
year.
2% all the way across.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's right, okay, 2% all the way across.
Which isn't a big number based
No,
Not
it's
on
not.
that salary.
Not on this one.
No, but it
no.
also hits
No.
the other lines. It'll hit workers' comp.
Oh.
it'll
Right,
hit,
right, that's what makes
um,
that
It
percentage
hits
go
Social
up.
Security, Medicare.
So
so-
that, while it factors into your 7.6%, if you were to take that, because you have no control over that, you have no control over the fact that you have to increase the amount that's paid for workman's comp and all those other mandated things,
Well, to be
it's
honest,
probably
we.
not 7.6.
Well,
There
you
is no
show-
separate insurance breakout for the library as it is.
Oh, okay,
That's somewhere else in the general fund.
okay.
So the library isn't even being hit with that expense.
There is no one that works for the library that gets health insurance through the town.
Well, no, we were talking workman's comp, and
Oh, okay. Mhm.
No, it's on here.
the workman's comp is.
Yeah.
Yep, next page.
It's, yeah,
Honovo,
yeah,
Retirement.
yeah. So you're,
workers'
I know,
comp,
workers'
Page 28, Mark,
I'm sorry.
$650.
okay.
Huh?
page 28, right at the top.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but my copy is higgledy-piggledy. Each-
Oh, I'm sorry.
4%.
Oh,
So what I'm seeing and hearing is that the 7.6% is the increased revenues that you expect for next year.
No.
No,
But-
no.
It
No.
shows right here,
No,
7.6%.
that's not what Mark
And
just
that
said.
Well-
8.66%
It's
is
not
the
an
increase
increase
in
in
real property
revenues.
taxes.
Well, you'd have to increase revenues, taxes, to cover the 7.6% increase in expenses.
Right. Unless we knew of other
Because you're right,
revenues that we.
the revenue line includes real property taxes at the top.
Right.
That's-
Right,
So that's why the
Which-
7.6 is on both pages.
It has to
Right.
be.
Or the
that's
numbers don't
revenue,
work.
it's separate from real property tax. I'm saying your revenues can go up and real property tax might go up by 100% if you doubled it.
Right.
What I'm looking at
But in a
here is
perfect
real
world-
property tax is going up by 8.66%.
In a perfect world, we could get a donation of $5,000 that would bring this right down, but we don't know at this time if we're gonna be getting any
I
extra in
understand that, I'm just trying to
revenues.
make sure I'm thinking clearly about what I'm looking at. And what I'm looking at is a budget line that says real property taxes are gonna go up by $6,484, which is 8.66%. And that revenue is expected to go up by 7.6%. And that's all revenues, not just the property tax.
Right, the additional revenue over and
Right.
above. property.
So am I understanding this correctly?
What's important, Chris, is on page 26, the bottom line at the bottom of where it says variance to tentative stage is
Mhm.
7.6.
Right.
And then on page 28 at the bottom line is 7.6. It has to be, your revenues and your expenditures have to
Have
be
to
the
manage
same.
it.
Right,
Match, yeah.
right.
But you're saying, based on this budget, our real property tax levy would go up by 8.66%.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I'm just trying to make sure I have a handle on. Because that's like half a
So-
percent increase in the tax levy, right? Okay, that's where I'm trying to go with this.
You know, when you're sitting in on these budget meetings, I'm sure, well, everybody asks for more than maybe they think they're gonna get. But, you have to prioritize someplace what's important and what's not important.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I think I said, at one of the first town board meetings when I first addressed the library, or spoke for the library, it's all a puzzle. This whole community is a puzzle. It is, and there's many parts to the puzzle. And what's important, there are people in this town and in this village that will never step a foot in this library. They could care less about reading a book, they could care less about taking out a movie, a DVD, or using a computer, and that's all fine, well and good. But to those people that do, that's important. There are people in this town and this village who will never ride a snowmobile trail. But to those people that do, it's important to them. There are people in this town who will never walk on the pathway and could care less about having a pathway or having a public park down there. But whether it's village or town, it's all one big community. And all of those things are, and that's what I mean about the snow machine trails, you know, which, I mean, you've got a big budget there. You buy the groomers, you buy the things. I'm never gonna use it, which is fine. But there are a lot of people who are going to use it, my tax dollar is going to pay for it, and I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to do that. Just like there's a population of people who will never come into this library, and I would hope that they would be just as happy to support this as I am to support something that I don't use. Because all of those things are important. When you look at the whole picture of the puzzle of a community, you can't say, well, this isn't important because a lot of people don't use it. A lot of people don't use the snow machine trail. A lot of people don't use the library. A lot of people don't walk on a pathway, which I was on the town board, I'd be pushing for a line item on that too, as soon as that money runs out, because that's drying up. So, I'm not running
Well,
for the
not
town
to get
board.
into a debate
No,
about the merit
no.
of snowmobile trails, but the snowmobilers are the winter economy.
They,
So-
they,
I remember
No.
well, and I'm sure you do too, what the economy was like up here before snowmobiles arrived. And it was a big fat zero.
I was-
and I'm not gonna get in that debate.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
that's
not
No,
good.
that's beside the point. My whole point is that everything is important. So when you people are sitting
is.
down, doing your
Absolutely.
final numbers, you have to remember that, you
We
know,
do.
and have
course
to
we
keep
do.
it in perspective. I hope so. And
The point being,
people should be willing to pay a few bucks more on their tax bills too,
all right,
because you don't get something for nothing.
absolutely. But the point being, if everybody wanted 7.6%, you know, Randy, if he wanted to come down to 7.6%,
I knew that was gonna happen.
I couldn't resist.
I just knew it.
You know what I'm saying? You can't give 7.6% to everything. So, and that's part of the process, is determining the most important use of the taxpayers' money in the scheme of things.
That's
But-
right.
But in their defense, 7.6 on this budget is a
That's
way
right.
smaller number than on.
It is.
But yeah,
It's a
but it's
small
a
one.
piece,
Right, it's a piece of the pie.
though.
Right,
Right.
I agree with that, which
Right.
Chris summed up, it's, what'd you say, 0.5%?
It's 0.5% of the tax levy.
Right.
Well, you know, money adds up.
Yep.
So,
And if it were restricted to 2%, or some number,
well,
for the tax levy, 0.5% is significant.
that's right,
It's very significant. That's a quarter.
that's right.
Cap's 2%.
That's a quarter
Is it?
of the
I don't know
cash
what it
cap,
is for this year or next
which
year.
is
I think so.
significant.
So,
Not in terms of overall dollars, but in
Mhm.
trying to reach the whole pie, it's a
Unfortunately,
significant
the state
number.
takes the same plan.
Mm.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You get paid the big bucks to make those decisions. I don't. No, I get paid the big bucks to work on a village budget,
there you go.
not on a town budget. So, no. Okay, I thank you very much for let me speak ahead of time. Now your work is cut out for you, and,
Now you can
Don't
put
envy
kill
you,
your
but-
potatoes.
but, no, as I said on my stool, next to Mark.
We'll go
Okay.
pull the library dartboard out.
You know, there you go.
We have one for Randy and one
Maybe,
for Danny.
maybe that's what
Again,
it
mine
is.
is bigger.
Yes, I'm sure yours is much bigger, but it's all important. Please keep that in mind, you know. I appreciate.
Yeah, I know, I gotta shrink that little dot down small.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Good luck with your thing.
Thanks. You too.
Karen, did you want me to bring your Sal's stuff back? If it's
Yeah,
on-
that'd be great.
If it's on the table, or else.
Yeah,
if I can-
yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay.
Where to next, sir? Or are we done with this or not?
Well, hold off just a second. Okay, Mark, you're gonna have to help me here.
Oh, boy.
I have our actual tax levy for 2018 was $891.55.
Hang on 1 second. I'll get the right page. For the library fund, actual tax levy,
No, for the entire tax levy for the entire town. That's what I was,
or the entire town.
you're gonna, oh,
Well,
wait.
you're talking Fund A.
You're talking the overall tax levy.
The whole deal, the whole spiel.
$2,500,000.
2 million,
200.
2,590,000.
Oh, all right, you're right, I was looking at general fund.
Does that make
He said it,
sense?
not me.
Whoever's, this should be a
Oh,
page
sorry.
here, it summarizes everything, right?
All right, the summary of all funds, 2,137,000.
Okay.
I don't think I have that page. Do
Should have been emailed to you.
I
I?
emailed,
No, I didn't print it.
Yeah, I didn't either, but that's
want to make a copy?
Don't make a copy of mine, I got all kinds of nasty
That's the
stuff.
meeting.
You got an
No,
extra.
it's
You got
a
an extra?
separate sheet.
Oh, I didn't.
No, that's the only one I got with me. We can just grab it.
Could you
Copy.
make
You
me
make two make
3?
Make a bunch.
10,
Four.
20, 30, 40 cents now.
I don't see what,
Whoa.
it's not in here, the summary of all funds?
No.
No.
Not in there.
You did it
I
afterwards.
separately sent
Okay.
that early last week.
Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I have it.
See, I was trying to save money, let everybody print their own copy.
4. You're down to 40 cents.
Yep.
All right, this is where okay, what I was looking at is the wrong number, so let me go here. Karen left with the wrong impression. So if we take the $2,137,083
Mhm.
and then divide it by the increase that they're asking for in the
Which is.
property tax levy, which is 6484. Page 26.
Good.
A lot less than half a percent, I think.
No, I divided the
You
wrong
might
one.
have to divide it into that
I divided,
6, yeah.
yeah. I always do that the first time around.
I hated percents when I was in school.
.003.
So it's
0.3%.
3
3/10.
1,000ths of a
Of a
percent.
percent.
Yeah, that's what I'm coming up with. 3%. Can't be right.
0.3%.
0.3.
Yeah.
Point
It
three.
would be 0.3%.
Yeah, right, 0.3%.
Okay, who am I getting this to?
I'm gonna take them.
Okay,
Chris
hold on.
Hauser's.
Which is a ways off of what's on our
Thank you, sir.
sheet,
Thank you. Did you make one for you?
which is 8.7%.
Thank you.
Well, that's your over
I got
here.
a blank piece of paper.
She's comparing it to the entire tax levy, not last year's
Oh, okay.
library levy.
So that's why my numbers, that's why I have so many numbers
Because
here. I'm
that's
like,
what
wait a
that
minute,
is.
these numbers are
It's a
not
comparison to last
percentages of the
year. It
full
isn't a
budget.
comparison.
They're only
They're
percentages
year over year.
It
year
isn't
over
like
year.
a total of the whole
Okay.
thing.
Yeah, last,
These
this,
numbers aren't
this
lining
year's
up.
tax levy, 2.1 million.
That's why my paper looks so
So I wanted to
destroyed.
see what
I'm like,
percentage
something-
of that
I'm doing
the-
something wrong.
Library,
6,000, whatever it is, increase
Okay,
yeah.
in the
so,
overall.
next to that, 4%.
Property taxes in the library budget
8.7.
would be.
Change
It's
percentage.
0.2.
I knew it couldn't be much.
Right.
No.
The library-
Change.
No, and
Well,
I shouldn't talk off the top of
See.
my head because I can't.
Right, we didn't write
Can't
fund
do
by
that
fund,
very
it was
well.
changed from that, I'm thinking from the whole budget, and I'm like, how the hell am I 20% of the budget up? That's not possible. Alright,
Sorry,
Rounding around.
I can't help it. I get confused and I confuse everybody else.
nope, you just straightened it out for me.
No,
That just solved a lot of questions I had coming.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
I don't know what the question was, so maybe I'm
So-
confused.
So, these numbers that you see over here,
Yes,
percentages,
yes,
are this compared to
yeah,
that,
yeah,
one to the next,
yeah.
not 4% of the
Yes,
big number.
Right, yeah,
Right.
I kind of figured that.
See, I was thinking it was 4% and this not of the whole budget that went up.
No, it's just an increase in taxes.
Nancy, has the library done a drive to recruit volunteers?
Yes,
An official drive? Okay, because I'm not aware of it.
yeah. Yeah.
It's, I mean.
Sherry has. I know that Roxanne and Sherry were very involved either earlier in this year or it could even been last year. We have a lot of the volunteers that were volunteering here have moved or,
Well, you know, Karen's point is valid, that we're all getting older, and as summer people who have retired up here get older and older, then they end up going back to where they came from.
yeah. And it's also a training issue too, because the volunteers will sit at the charge desk. And that's, I remember when I first helped when it first got started training people, and it's gotten far more complicated now. They make HIPAA rules look easy, a lot of the privacy rules that are involved with
How many
that.
volunteers are there?
That I don't know for sure. I know we were upwards of 20 at one point, but I'm sure it's
But
nowhere
not
near
now.
that.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no.
Well,
It's always the same people you'll see
exactly, and we're all getting older.
doing all the volunteering.
And Edna's not coming back next year.
Yeah, wow.
Well, I think
She
all
worked
my
a lot of
questions have been answered. You know me, I'll probably think of more. Sorry.
What's next, Mark?
Go right into one day.
Sure.
Is that yours?
Is it easier to just, I mean, the revenues are always kind of a hit and miss unless something
Well,
is,
there's issues with that too.
oh, goodness.
What you got?
We into A or?
Yeah, let's start, is that okay?
What are we looking
We'll
at
do A.
next?
General fund A?
Okay.
Are you happy with the library so far?
No, I feel like I understand it, yeah, that's where I was trying to get to.
On the, the A was on the agenda for tonight?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Well, the very first one is a snowmobile law enforcement, which we were supposed to be getting changed over to the Goomer
Oh, we're
snowmobile
doing
trails
Thailand?
What's the number?
No, snowmobiling is in general.
just in general.
What page, please?
Page 2.
Okay, that's what I was. What am I supposed to be looking at?
A 3317.
Thank you.
We have down in there 25,000.
Mhm.
the revenue line. That is, and I'm not standing correct, that is the grant money that we get for snowmobile trail maintenance.
Mhm.
So this year, we don't have a number yet, but this past year, the 2018, we got 31,000 between the two.
Really? That's good.
So that's why we were keeping it at 30
For past years.
past years.
I don't have a page 2.
Why
I
not?
have a page 1 and I have a header page, but I don't have.
Just flip it this way.
Okay, I had one backwards.
So you think we should raise that to back to 30?
Yeah. That's what I'm suggesting.
So head me in the right direction, which one?
A 3317. This law enforcement, I think I asked to get changed to the snowmobile trail stuff so people understand what it actually is.
That's what the state comptroller's office calls that line.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Law enforcement?
It's a trail fund.
It's a trail grooming maintenance fund that we get the
Well,
grant
you know,
money. It's the
if,
grant
if
money.
you wanted to add grant, snowmobile grant or something like that to the description, but I'm pretty sure that the 3317 is actually the line that's called snowmobile law enforcement through the state.
Leave it to the state for that.
Yeah.
Well,
I think the only town in this county that gets law enforcement money is Inlet,
Yeah.
because they have their
Well,
own
sure,
police
fine,
force.
yeah.
Us, it's just
Yeah.
the maintenance and repair work
It's,
reimbursement, right?
yeah, but that's under the, probably the catch-all that the
Yeah,
state
it is.
comptroller's office.
They have them rolled into the same thing.
Right. So any revenue that starts with 3, like 3,000, you know, of those varieties, that's from the state of New York.
Okay.
Change
so
that to
that
30,
description's
Randy.
But
mandated,
change that.
so we can modify the description or add
We
to?
could probably modify, add to it, you know, if
We
you
could do
want.
either one?
Yeah, well,
Well, I'm just trying to make it transparent for people to understand. What,
the only
when people
report-
ask me, where's the money we get from the grant money
Yeah,
for these things, because everybody, you know, not everybody likes the fact that we do this
Mhm.
trail stuff. I can't show it to them.
right.
We can't change the budget line number, but we can change
Change
the
the
description.
description.
Right.
Right, when we have to do the reporting to
So
the
you can
state of,
say, yeah, well, we get 30,000 for,
Right, but if I can't show it to them in a budget line,
right.
it means nothing.
Right.
when the reporting for the AUD is done, it's done all by number. Nothing is really written out as, you know, snowmobile law enforcement.
Well, when I looked at that, I thought, geez, the troopers or whoever, they
Yeah,
weren't,
they're making money.
they weren't writing a lot of tickets last year because they only got $9,000.
Well, that's my next statement on that. This 9,100, whatever,
Please say budget line.
The same one.
same one,
Oh.
3317.
3317.
You notice that actual for this year is only $9,181 so far.
Oh, okay.
The reason I say so far is Dan has already signed the voucher, which goes back to the state, and then the next quarter, they write checks out of it. So we are been allotted the remainder of that, but we're currently waiting for the lovely check to come in.
And that should usually comes in by the end of December, but the,
Let's start at
how
funds
much is
to
the,
get-
do you remember how much the voucher was for?
Gotta be around 21 grand,
It
right?
was, wasn't it, Randy?
No, I said that backwards. I am sorry. This is the 30%. We're waiting for the 70% for next year to come in.
You're right, because it's flips, it's, they got,
It's split. They send you the 70% in December, late November, early
That
December,
was this.
to do your grooming next year. And then if you do your grooming and do all that, in July,
That's what it
August, this
was.
year it was August, they send you the 30%. So in our budget lines, we're waiting for 2019's money to come in December.
Alright.
So it'll be December's revenue spent in 2019.
but the amount of the voucher was,
Will be like 21,000.
And you have to
The one that Dan just did is this one right here.
So
but-
Mark will carry that as
A
prepaid.
total amount is 30,800 and
okay,
something.
so the
I
30,000
have that
is a
slip.
safe.
You know, but we're waiting. they just are getting done
Mhm.
last year's 30%.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long it's gonna take to get to 70%. But nobody has said anything about
But
the numbers going down.
Mhm.
is this, I just multiplied the 918150 by 3.
And it came to
No.
27.
70 and 30 makes 100%.
So-
And came out with 27,544.50. Is that what the budget line should be, or do you expect more coming in August of next year? I don't know how, I'm probably not saying this right.
No, I know what you're saying, and I just see what the exact amount is. Because it should be the same as 2000.
18.
Because they pay 611 a trail, right, per mile.
Because he got paid 30%, and then there's 70% supposed to come, so you're doing it as though it was a third, and it's,
Oh, you're right.
And it's 30%.
Math is not my strong suit. Randy's better at than I am.
Randy's very anal when it comes to this.
30,605
Okay, thank you.
is what the actual check will be.
We hope.
Oh, yeah, we know.
When it comes in, right?
The informal.
So you wanna raise that to 30?
Yes, please.
Randy, when it does come, make sure Kathy puts it into this year's budget.
Budget, all right,
Even if it comes in January.
right, because it's got to show in this one. For revenue of this
Do
one.
we just, decide what you wanna call this? So I can have Kathy change it.
Snowmobile grant,
Grant reimbursement?
grant reimbursement, yeah,
Why don't you just leave snowmobile there and just put, yeah.
Grant
so
reimbursement.
Grant reimbursement, yeah.
Now, when that goes in on the annual report, is that gonna be acceptable?
Yeah,
Yeah.
The AUD is not a problem. They just go by item number, they don't care about description.
Right, you don't even change the description, it might say snowmobile law enforcement on their pre-inserted description on their
Okay,
program,
understand,
but.
all right.
So we're gonna call it snowmobile.
Mhm.
Reimbursement. Grant
Grant
reimbursement.
reimbursement.
Okay, you want the word grant?
Now, the 2610 line, which is above that, is fines and forfeited bail. That is from the troopers and the sheriff's department, that's the monies that come in for that,
The bad people.
yeah. The perps. And we're over in that already, so,
It's been busy.
I guess.
Every year there's more bad people.
Mm-hmm. We're importing them.
No, they're using our roads for bypasses
Yep.
between the
It's
city
just-
and Vermont.
It's the
Yeah.
same one, it's just getting badder.
Yeah, they're just thinking that, they can kind of hide out on our little
They
old
got
town
more-
roads.
They got more money in their pocket now, so.
Well, yeah.
The
it's-
economy's better, so they're being badder.
That's it.
yeah.
Well, the rest of it are just questions on why these blanks were left blanks. Particularly like permits, we know we're gonna be selling permits.
Where we're starting.
Second line, 2590.
Permits.
All these revenue lines that were left blank.
Wouldn't that be our building permits and our CV
No,
permits?
building permits are in B.
Okay, so
Sorry.
what's an A? No,
Well, that's why I'm asking the question.
I have no
is
idea.
wanna know what.
Not sure what was that.
Yeah, they should be in B.
25,
I would think they were gonna,
2590 permits.
it has to be separate from the village.
Like
Correct.
vendor permits?
I'm wondering if that trailer park we got
What's the number again? 20,
2590.
2590.
It's on page 2 of 35.
Yeah, it could be that.
While waiting for Nancy there, if we go up another page, the cable TV franchise,
Yep.
Dagon.
is that done? No?
Mhm.
Right?
actually, as I got a phone call from the owner who's 80 some odd years old today, said, yeah, they're done.
Toast, okay.
So is
We'll
there no
scratch
more
that out.
cable?
There's gonna be no more cable.
Serves them right, because they wouldn't come out by us originally.
So the existing customers is gonna go away?
Yeah.
Unless Spectrum gets its acting
So
gear.
that's not gonna happen. Did,
I don't have to worry about it.
Me neither.
Gore Mountain, or what
Because
is
they
it?
wouldn't give it to
Uh,
me.
Gore Mountain Cable
Gore
TV.
Mountain Cable is saying it's because the governor doesn't like the fact that Spectrum is non-union. That's why he turned it
Ring
down.
the bell.
But of course, you're gonna hear them.
The political
Well, they're
side.
still up here working, that's why I'm wondering if something's going on.
Okay, so that'll be
Yeah.
0 next year.
Yeah.
Stumpage tax,
What's that?
I don't know.
That's when somebody does lumbering, commercial lumbering.
Commercial lumbering?
They have to pay you
Yeah.
a certain
okay,
percentage
yeah,
of each
return.
stump cut.
Bail
Mhm.
return.
Okay, there was a credit.
If you need a better explanation, I can bring it up on my computer.
No, I've heard of it before, so that's what.
Okay, I just wonder why there's nothing in that line.
Right, we've always been,
Did
I
30
don't know.
if you look back in the years past, 32, 99.
Right.
Yeah, you never know
Well,
what
it
it's
depends on
gonna
where they
be.
cut.
Cut, right.
So you keep sending them away so we can run snowmobiles, we can't get the money.
Mark,
No, they're moving to bigger places where they should be cutting more, right, Randy?
Right,
that permits other, the 2590.
yeah.
I would say that's a question for Kathy, because I have no idea. It says July town clerk report, August town clerk report, and September town clerk report.
All right, so we got a little money coming in, we just don't know where it's coming from.
And it might be going, I'm sure it's come in, it
But
might
look at-
not belong on that line, or it might belong, I don't know what's involved.
Nothing in 2016, a pittance in 2017, so,
Yeah,
I mean, it's just a
It's
guess.
not worth,
It's just a guess number.
Yeah.
It's a dart anyway, so.
yeah, and it's
So we're
not,
gonna scratch that now.
it's not much of anything, really.
it's always better to be conservative.
I
with
would
the
scratch it.
revenues.
Scratch.
So you get a little extra.
Yeah,
You don't wanna just
It's
put
not gonna affect
1,000 on
anybody.
tentative?
On the permits and other?
Yeah,
Not if
I'd
you
rather
don't know
leave
what
it 0
is.
myself. That's
leave
just
it
my,
0?
my recommendation.
Not if we, yeah, if we don't know what it is.
Okay, back up, stumpage, you wanna throw a number in there, or?
well, I don't think we wanna drop the percentage it's been dropping. Because I mean, it would seem reasonable to me that they're going to do something.
Yeah, 2017 was a big number, if that was the number.
Mhm.
We can leave it at 3.
I would
Just
say,
last year?
yeah.
Okay.
Probably, yeah.
Because I don't know how that money comes in. Is it irregular throughout the year, or do they just
No.
pay at the end of the season?
It
or
comes in through the treasurer's office.
what treasurer?
County.
County?
So it's
County treasurer,
probably,
they pay them?
Yeah, it's paid to
But
the
do
county,
the
and then the county.
Logging companies pay at the end of the year, or do they pay per job as they go along?
That, I have
or-
no idea how it goes up there, but
Okay.
a check comes,
I
or
can find out, Chris.
well, I think that the
Yeah,
thing
I'll-
is, when does the county pay? They may only pay once a year. I don't know the answer.
That's
yeah,
what
I
I'm
would
wondering.
guess it,
Right.
I would think it almost comes with the tax bills.
It's funny that we already got some money in there unless that was misappropriated.
Well, my concern is, was that from last year, and we just got it this year? Because the county got it in
17.
they got it in 2017, we got it
Sent
in
a check out in
2018.
18.
Yeah, but
I
they
don't know
they
the
usually
answer.
clear that up the same year, don't they?
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, we would like to think so, but I don't know. I don't know when they get it, so I don't know when they can pay it out.
Exactly.
Oh, I'll ask.
I mean, I would think we would wanna put, I don't know, $1,500 there to hold the line.
What was that line?
Does
I
that
don't
make
remember
sense?
again, Chris.
Do you think they'd go
1189.
3,000?
789.
It's not gonna have any impact on the budget, so.
Well, why not put
Just
3,000
leave
in?
3. Is that
Okay, I'm fine with that.
How much?
3,000. Status quo.
I think that's our best guess.
Clerk fees, 450, reasonable, not a biggie. Next line, BTI applicator reimbursement. 16, 17 was 0, we put 7,000 into the budget last year. Haven't done anything. That reimbursement, I think, goes somewhere else, I think.
Consolidated Health.
There's another line. Well, it comes from
Yeah.
the health department, the Consolidated Health District, but I think there's another line that it applies to somewhere else.
I think, do you have that stream monitoring or
Yeah,
stream
That could be.
monitoring, right, Nancy?
Mhm. like 89, 89 or something like that.
So basically what you're saying is it's there, it's just in a different line?
Right,
So we wanna just,
leave that at 0.
Yeah,
That stumpage tax was Lime Adirondack Forest, was paid that whole amount, the $13.95, in February. So that makes me think
Okay.
it comes at the beginning of the year when the tax payments are made.
Okay, thank
that
you.
makes sense, I guess.
Cemetery lots, who knows?
You know, people die,
Hopefully it's
it
not
doesn't
going
matter.
up too fast.
Oh, it's moving.
Oh, it's a busy little
It's
thing.
busy.
Youth services, other government, not quite sure, it was in the budget last year, nothing, no activity the prior 2 years.
Right.
Not sure what that was.
That's supposed to be
That was-
from the school.
That was supposedly revenue sharing, right?
Yeah, the school's supposed to pay towards that, and I think that kinda, I don't know if it's dried up or.
Well,
if
originally it was
it's-
a three-way split, the village got some, the town got some, and the school district got some. And,
It was zeroed
I
out.
think that kinda went away.
Programs for the
Most state
aging.
money did.
I'm sorry?
Most state money did go away.
Programs for, did you say that went up, Dan, programs for the aging? Or is that still what it's been since I started working?
hasn't changed.
Guess we should be happy we still get something.
Mhm.
Yeah, actually, the grant money for the bus dropped. It's about 8% now. What we get for the bus.
That's the 11, it was 1125, and so we have 1,000 that we budgeted all this time, so how much is that going down?
Yeah, I think we're about 8% of our total cost, whatever that is.
And
That's
our
what
cost
we're-
has gone up.
No, the cost should be the same.
They dropped a trip,
They dropped the trip.
Oh,
so the
okay.
cost doesn't go up.
Yeah.
Programs for the aging, then that's just the bus?
No, that's
No.
all that the
That's the
state
food,
reimbursed
meals.
us. For, just for programs. But in order to get that, you have to show the state or,
Office of the Aging.
yeah, Warrensburg, you have to send the thing in,
Hamilton
and,
Warren.
and for the
But are they
expenses.
reimbursing us for the bus or for the entire?
It's for the bus really, because they wanna know what our expenses are, and the only expense that we have at this time would be for the bus trips.
Okay.
But as other towns jump on the bandwagon, that number decreases.
We're gonna,
Oh, yeah, if did they jump? Have they done anything? Cause they're jumping on our bus, I know.
Yeah.
So I have a question on the 1001. I guess the question is why is that down?
what number again? I'm
One-
sorry.
Line 1.
That's the
Line one.
property tax.
Yeah, but why would we be, I'd just be curious why that would be going down rather than at least equal.
You mean the A63?
Mhm.
Were lines cut out? There could have been expenditures cut, cause it's figured by
That'll
what's left
change.
after the revenue. You know what I mean, like after.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but
After going through all the expenses, that's the last number.
that's the
to-
number that
That's the
popped up.
number to plug
Yeah, okay.
at this point.
Yeah, I understand. I just wanted to make sure I was understanding it correctly.
Yeah.
I'm old, you know.
Really?
Oh, right there, it's 22,000, there's the van.
Okay, so just cruising down here, the salt shed, I think I had Kathy reverse that and went to the wrong account.
Yeah, she put it backwards.
Okay, I think that's been corrected. I'll follow up on that.
That's the same every year.
The only other thing that I noticed is miscellaneous revenue, 2770. Part of that, I believe, it might have something to do with the grant that's not totally squared away yet. The Boat wash grant,
the
money, DEC grant,
yeah, invasive grant.
by
Yeah.
looking at the 117,000 from 2017.
That would make sense.
We have, that's the balance, I believe. Some money's coming from LPSA and, it's kind of in limbo right now.
What's an AI?
We had a mistake on the last bills we did.
Pay
The-
double.
Yeah, it was for the whole year, it should have been just for the, it should have been 31,000.
It has Association of Towns refund and AIS grant,
Aquatic
Adirondack.
invasive
That's
species.
a Adirondack,
27.
Invasive, something around the study.
Yeah.
So that, odds are that's not gonna be back. Miscellaneous, just kinda a catch-all when you don't know where else to put anything.
but most of that revenue was offset with expense anyway,
Right,
so
Right.
it was a wash.
yeah.
Zero that baby. State revenue sharing,
02270? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, 2770, we're gonna zero out. Next one, state revenue sharing.
It appears it's been there around 4,200 for years.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what you get. About the same amount.
Why do we get that?
I don't know, they like
Just
us.
per
the
capita
state.
thing.
Yeah.
Just the states make believe they're helping the town.
You
Isn't
got,
it?
Yeah.
you got so many people, we're gonna give you so many dollars.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll leave it at 4,200, reasonable.
Looks like it would be reasonable.
Mortgage,
Looks like every other year it's different.
yeah.
It's usually right around that.
Mortgage tax, left that in at 13 based on prior years. That's a dartboard too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, we discussed 3317, we'll leave 30 in there.
Wait a minute, you just blew past 3089,
Oh,
which I don't know what
Well,
that is. What state aid is that?
anyway, that's just gonna zero out, I'm sure.
just gonna zero. Don't know. Last
That's-
activity was back in 2016.
Mhm.
Oh,
Do
okay.
you know it, Nancy, offhand?
Not offhand, I don't know.
That may go back to,
It's probably some kind of grant or some
yeah,
kind
but wasn't that, didn't that have something to do with the, moving the
oh, moving
the
the,
gas and the oil?
oh, yeah, yeah,
Is that 16?
No,
No, it had
that'd
to
be
be
before that.
yeah, it must have been before that.
That would have been
For a long time.
2010 when we finished
Oh,
that.
back when I was a boy.
You would have.
Oh, that came from over there, by the way.
Nice.
Now we're on page 3.
Okay, moving along. Anybody have any questions on that after reviewing it for a week?
I don't have any marks.
That's a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Pretty much stayed the same.
Bob
Let's
does, so.
switching.
I've got marks.
Now, on my budget note sheet that I sent out originally with the tentative, I made a note about, if I could find it here. Going forward in 2019, for consideration is combining, where are you, Debbie? 1410.
Well, the
Well, that's
register of vital statistics and the,
Right. Debbie's various functions, that's split along payroll now into 4 different places. Randy's got a couple line items. But going forward in 2019, I haven't asked the question to
The
upstream to the
complaint.
state. I don't know why they would have,
You wanna know why?
going forward, why the town can't decide,
To join them all together.
well, not even join them. You just put 0 going forward for the other line items and lump everything into the major, the clerk,
The reason why it's broken out is because we're a small town and we have one person doing 4 jobs. If you're in a bigger town, everything is split
Right.
because there are multiple people doing things. There will be red flags on that annual report for 2019 if we do that.
I guess my reasoning was,
From
let's,
The comptroller's office,
Yeah.
because they have this set up as their uniform code for the state of New York, and they expect all the towns to follow that.
For
Yeah, but
instance.
we gotta break out all the expenses, you know, the different, and it's more work for us doing it this way though.
Why?
But then to have to be broken out, each item doesn't, when there's some problems with paying people for certain things.
Well, I
that
mean,
we
when I do
ran
my
into.
town clerk report, I mean, the different line items that I take the money in from are broken down. I mean, even though it's from the town clerk's report. So, I mean, it's,
I guess my reasoning was, going forward, let's say we assign Debbie another duty.
Mm-hmm.
So are we gonna create another line item to account for that?
It depends on what the duty is. If it's something
I mean, when we
that's
took on,
specific
when we took it on
to-
C and Ds, that was a huge take on for me.
Right.
I
But we didn't
there
add
wasn't-
line.
Get
There
another
was another
line.
line.
And
which is-
also, just my thoughts on this, from my lines, some of my money comes from town and village. Or
Right.
some of my money
Same
comes
with
from
Deb.
just town.
Mhm.
So now, when a village person comes and says, why am I paying this or that, you can
Mhm.
see that some of it is separated.
Yeah.
Oh, so you'd rather leave it this way then?
I would.
Yeah.
Right?
I
Um,
mean,
Okay.
that's,
Yeah, it's more transparent, as
yeah.
Chris uses that word. I'm just saying that when people come and ask, you know, it's easier to show, well, this line, that line, and this line.
And if
Yeah, I know
someone-
my 3 lines, I know in our,
Right. If someone wants to know what Randy makes or what Debbie makes total,
Mhm.
it's a lot easier to add 3 lines total than to go through and figure out what percent of it is for this or that.
Well, that's a perfect example, like in the base case, you
Mhm.
know, we jump those lines around every year. Because some years she spends more time in the courts than she does with the highways than she does, but there's still that salary is still the same at the end, so.
Right.
No, that was
But I
just,
mean,
it was a thought.
I definitely see where you're coming from, why I have 4 or 5 different lines when there's only one, that combines to one salary.
for
but-
one person.
Yeah.
And if somebody needs detail, somebody can always go back and create detail. You know, I'm just wondering, at this level, why do you need detail?
Well, on payroll lines, the detail would be, all it says is payroll, 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 payroll.
Okay.
On the detail report, so it's,
Okay.
but I'd still say if that really nags you, ask the controller's office. I'm sure they have very logical explanation why they have it broken out. Deb, do you have to put your pay into anything that goes to the state for, like your court clerk?
No. No.
I,
You do for snowmobiling.
Yeah.
no, not for
Yeah,
snowmobiling,
correct.
I do for state plowing.
Yeah.
That I have to show, because they divide it out, so they figure out an hourly for me.
Yeah, mine's just,
To
mine's just.
reimburse the town
Mine's
for
just
my
covering the
tips.
fine surcharges.
No, not chips, for state road.
Yeah.
For me checking the road, for me plowing the road, anytime I'm on the road, that they have to have a number to figure out my. So if I had that number everything was combined, then that would be, you know, it's not just for the highway,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's why they have the
We don't
different
get,
lines.
I don't get reimbursed on my lines from anybody.
I see our
you know, so-
assessor's contract is going down. That means Indian Lake has more properties than we do now?
Well, they're 60% of its cost.
Right.
Last year, they didn't come on until later.
Oh, that's right, okay, that explains it.
So
Thank
this budget number.
We didn't
is
start
a
paying
true-
him till like June, right? Wasn't it like that?
Yeah, I remember.
It was halfway through.
This is a true figure of the of our 40% that's due by the time it was.
Okay.
No clue.
Let's see here.
You got questions on this page?
Huh?
Well, this is me personal, it's not, has anything to do with the rest of the board. I'm perfectly fine to leave it where it is, as far as the personal services.
Oh, for the town board?
And I also think the judges I'm fine leaving them where they are. That's me.
Do we bump it? Did you put a bump
Looks
up
like
number
maybe there was
for judges?
2%.
At
just put it-
2%.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, our judges are working 24/7, 7 days. One judge is the first to the 15th, so that's all hours, whether it's middle of the night or evenings or whatever, so. And they have training to go to also. So, we're busy in our court, unfortunately, we're very busy.
I believe the consumer price index for the last 12 months is around about 2.1% or something like that, 2.2%. Memory serves me.
I have no stake in the ground,
Okay.
just giving my opinion. You know, probably should have waited till I was asked for it. I know it works that way at
That's over
home.
here.
Come forward anytime you'd like.
This is where we get to speak.
Speak now or forever hold, right?
The independent auditor, Dick Dinalfo, he hasn't come.
Haven't seen anything of them.
We're like two or
2
3
years
years
behind.
2 years behind, yeah.
2 years behind.
Mhm.
Should we be looking
we're
elsewhere?
normally 1 year behind.
Well, it might pay to make a phone call to him and find out if he's still coming, because.
I did that before and never gave a call back from him, never heard back from him.
Well, then he's telling you he doesn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, he's up there in age pretty.
He's had some health issues the last couple of years
he's had
between
a
he
lot
and his
of
wife.
issues.
I did take the liberty of talking with Sean to see if he had any interest, but he has none.
He has none?
He has none, I can't imagine why.
He's the budget officer for the town of Long Lake.
Oh my goodness, I mean, he kind of like lived in our office.
He was there,
Long
yeah,
time.
he liked,
Oh my
I think he
God.
got to be
Very
liking it
knowledgeable,
there.
though.
Yeah, he was very comfy.
Is there a statutory requirement?
No. You don't have to have an audit,
Mm-mm.
Okay.
but it's probably a good idea to periodically have.
I always felt good
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
my work was checked by someone and, you know, said that it was okay before.
OSC checks this over.
The advantage I see to it is audit and control, they don't do it on a regular, they do it on a regular basis, but it's years apart. Well, if they find something in
That's right,
2022,
yeah.
then they're gonna go all the way back through, and that's a nightmare,
Yeah.
as you will, I'm sure you well know that, so. But if we've got a clean bill, or at least a clean audit statement, I know that the firm that we use at camp, I know they do, like the town
I'm
accounting.
surprised he didn't give us a notice
Oh,
or
yeah.
a letter or something. That's just not like him.
So, I mean, I have no problem making a phone call, ask if they're interested. I will make the contact, and I'll get in touch with Dan.
Then we should bring this up at the board meeting.
I mean, I'm perfectly fine with doing that. I have no
Make a
problem.
recommendation.
I'm
And
not
then
necessarily
finding
making a
out how
recommendation, I
much
just know that
I'm
they
sorry.
would
other towns,
charge,
'cause I've
how
talked
much
to them.
would they charge
Well,
us
that's what I
also?
mean, to
Because-
investigate it, to find out how
Right,
much.
because,
They give me a
because I
proposal.
think Dick was pretty kind, because, you know, we worked together for so long that,
Yeah.
you know, I would scan things and email it to him so that he could do a lot without coming in.
All right.
I think that's pretty normal practice now anyway, with
Probably.
most of them.
So for
I
the,
know my business that
so for the time being, I don't know, if 6,600 is
Just
a
leave it.
reasonable number now, but
Mhm.
we've got 6,000 from last year to play with also in there.
yeah.
Well, bring it up in the meeting, if you want me to make a contact. And
Why don't we look into it and get an idea of the cost, which Nancy mentioned,
I
and
mean,
then we'll bring it up at the next meeting.
yep, I'll just have somebody get into contact with you.
Great.
leave the number the same then for the time being,
Mhm.
until we hear different.
I mean, I got no money in it, so.
The justice court fees, it's at the last line on page 3.
28,000.
Yeah, that is, counters
Yeah.
the fine money that comes
Right.
in. So, you know, we get a portion of that, but we pay out quite a bit to the state. That, we're over that already, and we still have a quarter left to go. So that.
It's another dartboard thing, I guess.
Yeah, it is. All depends on the, how bad the people are, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, to what extent they're,
Well, we're coming into the holiday season, people are getting
Yeah.
Well,
better,
you know,
better
be-
this time of
they-
year.
parking tickets, it's only $25 as opposed to, you know, DWIs, we get a lot more money. Sad as it sounds.
Reasonable, 28,000?
Well, we're already over, and we have a quarter left to go,
So,
so,
yeah,
you
definitely
know,
could go.
but it is kind of a wash, because we do get the money in
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
revenue.
It is a wash, you're right. So
Okay.
the number you put there, I guess, doesn't really matter.
Dan, you're comfortable with the assessor's contract, 27,400?
We've already discussed it.
Mark, what was
Yeah.
the assessor's personal services $200? I asked you about that.
There's a program that we had to pay a percentage of that he's using.
Software?
That's, yeah, parts of software.
But that wouldn't go under personal services, that would have to go under a contractual line. Personal services is payroll.
Mhm.
Okay, then that should be moved.
Actually, there's assessor's training and mileage down 2 lines below.
Yeah,
If that's the same $200, then we could just lose the other.
You asked that once.
I did, I
know you
did.
did, I remember.
I'm not sure if that's, I think there is some training that he has to do.
So
In
are
fact, that
we
was at one of
paying
the
him a
training questions.
payroll amount too for the training, or is this
No,
just
just
for the,
reimbursement for,
just for the cost of the course?
So the
Yeah.
200 on personal service needs to.
You wanna put 400?
That-
Is that what you're saying?
That should go away.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I think.
Yeah.
To zero and move it down. Are we moving it down 2 lines?
Dan, you had written in here software update on that first 200.
yeah, that's, one was software update, and that was just this
Mhm.
year that
Okay.
he asked for.
Anything that's .100, Dan, is payroll.
Okay,
Even if it's .101, 102, it's
Right.
payroll. So, just for future reference.
So you're saying that 200 software update is payroll?
it shouldn't have been, but that's where it is right now, I think. It shouldn't have been.
It's on a
put-
payroll
It's in on the
line.
payroll line here. It needs to go down there, that
I
one,
mean, it's not thousands of dollars, but
Yeah.
it shouldn't be there.
Yeah, so we're gonna make that 200, 400.
Right.
down below.
The down below.
Right, okay. Your calculation for the assessor's salary is 45,803, 68,000 with fringe, you know, with all the benefits.
Yeah.
And then you took, and you turned that into 27.4, whatever the percentage.
Is that my rating?
Yeah.
I'll say that again, Mark.
I'm sorry?
So would you say that again?
Here, it's,
There's the numbers.
it's a salary with fringe, it's 68,275. 40% of that's the 27,400.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm with you.
About 40%. Right, that was the
Yeah.
number. 40%.
Yeah, and it's based on number of
60% up
parcels.
there, 40 for
Yeah.
us.
Okay, yep. I'm with you.
Hopefully some more towns come on. That,
Yeah, that'll help.
that his costs will go up.
So it's currently two,
Town of Indian Lake,
Indian
Town of Lake
Lakes.
Pleasant, yeah.
what you wanna guess, one.
The big
Yeah.
change on page
Yeah, probably
5,
have to hire somebody that'll work with them.
the attorney professional services. We cut that quite a bit, from 25,000 last year down to 13 going
Yeah,
forward.
we went
For
through
attorney
the hearings on the extending the water line, and
What about the salt contamination?
that should change. You mean, attorney's fees and related to that? We shouldn't see anything on that until 2021.
I mean, what about the hawk drilling?
That's
just
all
got-
done.
We just got a billing today from Parso, I put that on your desk for doing.
Yeah, yeah, that's, we still got money
Yeah.
budgeted for that, so. Yeah, now the hawk case is closed.
As long as that's
Oh,
adequate
that's good.
for any suits that we
Right.
Yeah,
get. And how long are we good on
Backside Lake.
the vaccine?
so I think it's 2021.
Okay, all right.
Okay, going forward here.
On
Yes.
401, buildings cleaning contract,
Mm.
if it's, the actual is 18
Yeah, that was
Six.
one of my questions too.
680 year-to-date this year, and we're budgeting 15.5.
Taking
Are
a
we
pay
gonna
cut?
start limiting her hours instead of just letting her go? Right now, she's the one who decides how much she spends, how much time she spends in each building, right?
Let me check the input, see if that's an input. Let's see.
And she really does do a great job.
She does do a
yeah.
very good job. She's,
There was another bill in today's bills too, for her.
Mhm.
So this is dated the 28th.
Yeah, so every 2 weeks, right?
Right.
yeah,
Too many papers here, Randy.
And they all look the same, don't they?
Every one of them. I have a page 5, but that's not the right page 5. How can that possibly be?
We're looking at
Oh,
16.
it's because they were 2 different printouts, that's why.
Yeah.
I would have thought
I'm
that.
coming. I'm sorry?
Indeed, he's doing a very good job, but I would have thought that once the paving was done here, that, at least the floor cleaning here would have been considerably,
Yeah, should be.
easier and quicker.
Yeah.
But what percentage of that
Correct.
is
Yeah.
their duties, I really don't know. Because I know a lot of stuff was being tracked in when it was just gravel and dirt out there before.
And there's even construction going on.
Yeah, that's true, so.
Come on, Dan, what'd you do with
I don't think I had anything to
You
do
want
with
some
that.
of these to mix in?
No, keep my stuff out of it.
that? All right. Can we come back on that one?
Mhm.
What was that number again? 80.
162401.
20.401.
All right. I'll find it here somewhere.
Okay.
I would say heating is redundant money.
Alright,
I don't know about National Grid.
Looks like 16 is relatively safe.
Right.
Now, this is through what date?
August.
August.
We had September, October, November, December. Four.
Well, actually,
And it's the dark nights of the month here.
But it certainly shouldn't double,
No, it shouldn't double.
because you got January through
Correct.
March, so.
that's a safe number, right?
Yeah, I would say it's a safe
I think
number.
it's a safe number.
Yeah. I have not.
Yeah, that should be a safe number. It hasn't gone up that much from 2017.
I don't know, no, I haven't moved. We're talking about national grid.
National Grid.
So the water and sewer bills for here, basically, and the gym,
In the primary.
and the primary. That's been relatively right there on Pete.
What budget line are you looking at?
Page 7, top line, 195400.
Next page.
6.
That's paid quarterly, I think, isn't it?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
that's your big consumer, no, it's monthly.
Mm.
So there'll be one more,
Would be one.
more bill for that.
It'd be about another $800.
I don't know if we've got the September, because this is October, I don't know if we got it already or
I
not.
don't know, I'm
It could
lucky
be in
enough to
tonight's.
have a well.
Yeah.
Did you ever see anything in the,
We don't, there was no water bills,
Not this time, no.
Oh.
this bills.
Well, we certainly wouldn't have had it by the last time. Well, we could have, because that was a big deal. No, we couldn't have.
I
'cause
don't
that was
remember
too early in the
seeing,
month.
yeah.
Too early in the month,
Maybe
because
the
it
next.
takes like 3 or 4 days afterwards to get it usually.
Mm.
Okay, sorry. But what about the wastewater hauling, is that the one you're talking about?
No, wastewater hauling is when we bring our,
Yeah, I know what it is.
but that should stay the same. That
That's
has a
good.
contract with them that,
Yeah.
So it should be 1,500.
yep.
We just haven't had any in 2018.
Yeah, we
so-
talked, we did.
No, we only get a bill once a year at the end of the year for that.
You want 15 in there then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you get one last year, the end of last year?
What's that?
What's emergency preparedness?
That's the money we give to the school for that.
Generator.
Oh, the
Generator.
generator, okay,
$1
thank you.
million generator.
Hmm.
I think there's 3 more years of that. Was that 1,500 for the wastewater hauling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was- Nancy, I still didn't hear you.
Oh, I just said the wastewater hauling, did you?
Yeah, it's 1,500.
Yeah, but we didn't pay anything in 17?
17?
Because it went to a contract. We were we were hauling it ourselves, and then they said, you can't do that, right?
No.
No, we were hauling it.
Do we have to have a permit to haul that?
We do have a permit
Okay.
through the county. Whatever little hazmat decals and everything else.
Nice.
Oh yeah,
And you didn't haul any wastewater.
just for water with soap in it. The, I don't know what that,
Unless it got put somewhere else.
where that went on 17. I know, well, I don't know. I would bet money that the village did not skip it. Because the reason I say this is somewhere in here is it's a wash for us taking care of Gilmantown. And that's the year we had the contracts.
Right. And you're getting the Gilmantown money?
Yes,
But we had to re-up that
we had to re-up the
Yeah,
contract.
yeah.
And I went to a 5-year contract
Mhm.
rather than a 1-year contract.
Smart.
So, so maybe that year is the year that we had the contract
Start with
issue.
5.
I don't
Yeah, I
know.
mean, that kind of makes, that seems like that's starting to ring a bell.
Because we take care of the first mile of Gilmantown, wintertime for them.
Yeah.
The contingent account, I know that's been Dan's bugaboo. Nothing is.
Bugaboo?
You, it's all Yep. It's gonna be used, promise. There's actually nothing left on it this year. He's gone. Because when it goes to 0, that means it's gone. That's what it's used for, is for when you don't budget enough or things aren't lined up. So,
Why is it a contingent account for
It's kind of like an emergency fund.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, but we, okay,
For general fund A, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let's say we budgeted
What-
3,500 for this and it came in at
Yeah.
4,500 would come from the contingent.
Yeah, you're supposed to hit
Yeah.
that before you hit fund balance.
right,
Right.
so would you feel comfortable
Wait a minute.
there?
You said you're supposed to hit that before fund balance?
Like if you go over budget on a line, and, well, for example, we paid off the, who's he named there,
The band.
yeah,
band.
the BAN. So we did that, and you have to move money to make the budget look pretty. So you have to move it from contingent before you go to fund balance to fill in the lines on this budget. At the end of the
If
year,
you
it's
have an
generally
unexpected
done
expense, you have to use
Exactly.
contingent money first.
first. At the end of the year is usually when it gets worse, obviously, because you're paying bills that maybe you don't expect all, a couple of times during the year. And then at the end of the year, when we get that treasurer's report, and it shows that a line is over, when Kathy will do the budget adjustment report, that you're supposed to use contingent first.
Is this an actual, the contingent account, is that an actual bank account?
No,
No.
it's just money
It's
that's
just a number.
It's
budgeted
just a line
for
item.
an
It's just a
emergency.
number, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I mean, it's, you can make it zero and then just take the money out of fund balance.
That's why,
Yeah,
When you go over, it's gonna come out of someplace if you go over budget on
It's gonna come out of the
lines.
fund balance.
it's gotta come out of the fund
So it's
balance
a
anyway.
sub-savings account to, a sub-savings account to the fund balance.
But why?
So it's like two piggy banks.
But why?
Do they have it for the
Right?
county? I'm sure they do,
No, I'm sure they do. too.
yeah.
Are we required to have a contingency fund?
That I couldn't answer. I don't know if we're required, but I know whenever I was told that by Dick D'Onofrio, when he worked for the controller's office, that's always the first line of defense, when you go over a line, so.
But the money still comes out of the same spot.
It does and
It's
it doesn't,
Well,
because if
it's
you're
It's
raising,
unbudgeted, yeah.
if you won't be raising $10,000 to
Out of the budget.
have, you will have to go into money that's left over from the year before in order to take it from fund balance. You won't have,
Right.
have it in your mind that we have a little extra, a little slush fund, whatever. It's not dramatic, but, I mean,
So, from my own brain, so if we allocate 5,000 to the contingent account, correct? The only way to fund that is through tax levy.
Right.
or if you're cutting somewhere else, like we
Well,
just.
let's say we fund it through tax levy.
Uh-huh.
Correct.
Let's say we zero that line,
Mhm.
okay? And if we go 5,000 over during 2019, that'll come out of existing fund balance money that was already a tax levy sometime in the past,
Correct.
Mhm.
without having to,
Raise tax,
Raise
raise the
taxes.
budget.
that's what I don't understand.
Well,
Yeah, that's where
here's
I'm
what's gonna
going.
happen. The only
You're gonna
problem-
dwindle down your
You'll pay for
fund
the
balance.
library's increase.
No, I mean, the money's still,
Well, that's what it's for. Fund balance should go like this.
I understand that,
Right.
and trust me, it does.
Yeah.
But the question is, and the audit and control will tell you, your fund balance should be someplace along in here, correct?
20%.
So, you just gotta be,
You
you
actually
gotta be
got a
prudent about
percent
it.
from
That's-
them?
That's my only point.
Sean wouldn't give me one.
Sean gave it to me. He said town of Lake Pleasant fund balance should be 20%.
Really, that high?
Especially general fund, because general
Seems like a
fund,
big number, but.
yeah, general fund is
Well,
like a
I can have-
parent fund. The other funds cannot fund general, but general can fund the other funds if they need help. Like one year, Bob probably remembers this because it was traumatic for me. The fire department needed money for foam or something.
Well, they had a major breakdown.
There was something, yeah. And they went over their allotted SF. And the general fund had to loan SF money. But it happened right after the budget closed for the following year. So it was 2 years that loan was on the book, because that's the way it went, you know. So fund balance isn't an ugly word, it's kind of a good thing to have when you need it.
So based on 2019, if we're gonna have general fund A expected appropriations of 957,588, 20% of that. Just thinking out loud here. 187,000.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And I'm projecting at the end of 2018, 192,000. So you're right on target.
Short target, yeah.
So it doesn't leave you a whole lot of wiggle room for,
We got 20% to play with. 20%. You got $190,000 to play with for a $5,000 contingency or a $15,000 contingency to get us through 2019 until 2020. You'll look at it again, right?
Yeah, but can you have a fund balance? If you need to raise your fund balance, then how do you do that?
By not spending your money.
Yeah.
So I
But-
think we're getting
Well,
confused
the way you
between
do
a
it is
contingency fund and
Is
a
you
fund
fund the
balance.
contingent.
Yeah, but we're talking
contingent
fund
fund
balance
isn't
right
a
now.
fund,
That's
the
right.
contingent
That's how you
is
do
a
it.
line
That's how
item.
You put a $20,000 contingent fund and don't
That's-
use it.
Sure,
That's the
yeah.
mechanism.
Sorry.
That-
You put money in the
So the
contingent line,
contingency's a budgeted
and
item.
that brings you more money
Right.
in that'll sit in the pot
Yep.
until,
I'm with you.
okay.
If we go under 20%, we get hit with what they call fiscal stress.
Stress, right?
Right, they don't like that.
Yeah, and that affects your interest if you need to borrow,
Right,
There's a lot of towns that
that
are
are stressed.
Stressed.
A lot of
really.
cities too.
And it's
Cities
because
too.
of that-
Troy was what?
yeah. It's because of the 2% tax cap.
Yeah.
It just seems like such a large number to me.
It does, but
20%, that's a huge number.
But then look at 20% of some of the
Yeah,
smaller.
but then you take some of that money to offset taxes the following year.
Mhm.
So it's
Well,
there
no,
in
Danny
case
said
there's a
it should
huge
be right about
emergency.
20. Maybe if we go to 25 at the end of the year, you have a good year for whatever reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody
I
bequeaths the town
Sharon,
and
do you
their
remember what
estate,
you wanted
know?
to use miscellaneous for?
You'll have to ask me that at the end of the day. There are items that do not fall within supplies, and that's basically it, because there's no breakdown. I mean, calculator dies or something, and that doesn't fall under equipment because it's less, but our budget is such that we don't have a lot there to begin with, and it's nice to know that it's not actually supplies, that it's something else that the money is going towards.
And Karen came up with like the trunk or treat.
Yeah, that kind of thing, which would fall under supplies otherwise, and they're really not. This is something we put on for the kids in the
Because I couldn't
community.
remember what you said.
Yeah, I had a list of them at the meeting, and now I'm not drawing on any of that right now.
Long day.
It was a long day, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
So we leave it or unleave it? Continue.
I don't see why we need it, to tell you the truth.
I don't either with the numbers that I'm looking at right now. Maybe that'll change next.
I mean, if we're not
when we move.
required to have it,
Here's a question. It's only a question. If you leave it at $10,000, and then you go down, because you're saying, then you go down to the appropriated fund balance, and you take from the fund balance the $10,000. That would be a wash to your wash, correct? in it,
Feel well.
you know
I'm
what
not sure how
I
to
mean?
answer that.
Well, you're being, you know, the $10,000, if they're saying we're supposed to have that, and that's the proper way according to the state of New York, that you're supposed to have
You can,
a contingent.
you can pay me
fund.
now or
You can pay me later, right. So then you come down here, if you don't have it in here, you just drop the tax levy by $10,000, say.
Correct.
Whatever.
And you may have to pick that up again next year, or maybe not.
Right, we may have to put it back in.
Maybe
Next year, that contingent fund may have to be 20,000.
possible. You don't know that yet, but
Yeah, absolutely. We don't have a,
Budget.
Right, you don't have a crystal ball, it's budgeting 101, I mean, it's,
I think well, I know Danny's philosophy is, why would you collect tax money now
and hoping that,
unless you, unless you're breaking
Why
some
we
rule.
collecting tax dollars that we can't say we're budgeting?
Yeah, 'cause I
Right.
think, because when you budget,
you're saying be more scrupulous with your budgeting.
Well, to me, it's like,
if you're being too
Budgeting fat.
Put money
scrupulous
in
with
the
the
bank.
budgeting,
Yeah,
that's
you're
save it.
budgeting fat,
and you got a drawer with cash, it's so easy to go take that money out of there.
Right.
It's
But if
gone.
it's over here, you're gonna work on this
Right.
over here better so you don't touch that. And
Mhm.
I think we can do
I
that.
have no problem with it.
Yeah.
It'll
Now, one of the
surface.
notes I jotted down this afternoon, does the town of Lake Pleasant have a fund balance policy? What's our policy for fund balances?
Well, I think we just are doing what the state recommends. I don't.
Yeah, it's
The state's
So that would be our
policy,
policy, whatever the state recommends.
if it hits 20%, anything over and above that.
it's fiscal stress.
I mean, it's something
No.
the board
Below
might
has
want to
to be
entertain and
invested
actually
or some- No,
Yeah.
that's not it.
develop a
Anything
policy.
over 20%, what's the rest of it?
Well, that's,
No, but,
My
that's
brain's
fine.
not working.
take it.
You know, I mean, that's something you might want to think about going forward, is the board develop a policy.
my fear is we're looking at 11.8% increase in health insurance. If we're doing, we're gonna get hit bad this year.
well, let's take it out. Worst case scenario is you gotta,
Right, just,
you're gonna look perhaps not great next year, but,
Mhm.
so, that's fine.
We've used all 10,000 of that every single year that I've worked for the town.
Oh,
Just so you're aware of that, that 10,000 has been used.
Okay.
We'll give it a go, right?
Speaking of Fund A, there is a bank account, it's entitled Cash Special Reserves, got $63,000 on it. Anybody know what that is?
63,000, not in general A, that should be.
General Fund A, Cash Special Reserve, 63,000, according to the report that Kathy provided.
Special reserve is the reserve for snowmobile. Did you put in, we put 50,000 in this past
yeah,
year?
and
And then there
13
was
before.
13, so there
that's
you
the
go. That's for the
63,000.
snowmobile groomer.
Don't touch my groomer fund.
Oh, you put it in Fund A. Shame.
No, it should be,
It's in Fund A.
it should be in
Yeah, so
Fund A,
that
'cause
should not be
groomers are
considered part of
Fund A.
fund balance
But
because
it's
they.
not 60,
Not general fund day
No,
though,
Yeah.
is it? Oh, because it's Parks and Rec, not Highway?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what I didn't know
That's
what that
Parks and
was.
Rec.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there should be one in DA.
There's one in DA, he's got 110 in it.
Yeah,
DA would be like your fund.
You're putting 50
Yep.
grand a year in.
and I don't,
Correct.
I'm
And there
not
should be
sure.
another 50 going this year, which would make it 160, and we're taking the remainder 50 something from my CHIPS fund. Yes, correct.
I'm not sure if that should be
Sorry.
counted as part of fund balance, because in order to take that money out, we have to do a permissive referendum.
Good point.
I don't think you count dedicated account, reserve accounts toward fund balance, do you?
Exactly, so I'm not sure if you did.
A few minutes ago, I said 192, that included the 63. Right, correct.
So then our fund balance is not
It's
so great.
130,
And we're looking at 180.
130,000.
When did the town,
Projected.
this is totally off the subject, but you said you based the, this year's raises on the COLA.
I didn't, my recommendation, which I haven't given yet on the cost of living, based on what we've done over the last several years, would be more like 1.5%.
Counties.
But you would
2%.
base it on the cost of living as
This,
figured by the federal government?
yeah, the consumer
Bureau of
pricing.
Labor
Index.
Statistics.
What happened to us using the employment cost index? That's supposed to be more accurate for civilian employees, right? And, well, all employees.
I'm not sure what's included in that, that's, or not included in that, that's in the other. For
Yeah.
instance,
You were on the board when you used to use that. I'm just wondering if there was a
I
reason
just
why
got
it was
wrong,
dropped.
sorry.
Thought it was, well, we always use Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Right.
But I don't know of any other that we.
Yeah, there's several indexes out there.
Right.
Yeah. Some include, don't include, for instance, heating, and some don't include.
Clothing, food.
Right.
So I don't know what's left.
Answer your question.
Yeah, nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
No, but,
Okay, so are we gonna leave any money in this
I mean,
contingent
that was a number
account, or-
that I got, when I
Right, we're at the
was,
contingent account, but now we just found out fund balance is actually.
my first thing was, is the
We had
gap,
that 63 in there.
Right.
right.
Mhm.
All right, we
So-
should put some money in the contingent account then.
Let's cross that out.
You lost your
You have an
change.
eraser?
Except again.
Once again, this is
Bad.
based on projections
Yeah.
for the rest of the year.
But if you're really conservative with a lot of other lines, then it's,
Well, we are somewhat conservative with some of them,
We
but
certainly
I'm
are
not
trying
sure
to
what
be.
it
We're
is.
trying to be.
So you feel comfortable with, since we are somewhat conservative, that we put 5 in contingent, or you feel better with 10?
Well,
just from experience, 10 has
Yeah.
always been.
Well,
But I
if
don't
you
wanna
throw
say,
5 in and see where you end up.
yeah,
Try it.
When we can have our next go around.
Right, we got, this ain't the last night of the budget meeting.
Right,
Yeah, Danny, that would come out to 15%.
okay.
Oh, you are one dear boy.
But we have a couple
Definitely.
other things we
Kick out of
haven't,
this.
that aren't, the new numbers aren't in here.
how many years have we done 0?
Tell her I have some bars, protein bars. She gonna bring you dinner?
Mhm.
Jesus,
What the heck?
unbelievable.
You want
Tell
a
her you're
little
done.
brownies in a package?
I have a protein bar. I brought you next one. She hungry.
Wants to know if I want it now or later on.
He's
before
hungry
the
all
next
day.
meeting.
He's hungry all the time.
All right, we're,
Leave
What are
it
we
at
doing
5?
Gotta keep going.
Let's keep going.
So would you like to put that 5 back in?
Just left it at 5.
I didn't take it out.
Yeah, we didn't take it out.
Okay, sorry, Mike, but
I did.
Control of animals,
did.
personal
I crossed it out.
services is 1.5%.
I don't know why that didn't go to 2. On 3510.10 there.
that should go up. 3510?
We're talking about 27.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad.
$3510,100. I wrote in here 4,900, is that what it went to?
Mm-hmm.
You have to add an extra
I went high on that one.
0.5%.
I go to someplace else.
And we're throwing 2% in?
Mm-hmm.
That's 4923.
Whoa.
Come on now, give me a break.
This ain't going the right way.
Creepers.
What line are we on?
That-
3510.
100.
23.
Yeah, I'm not changing it.
I wouldn't either.
I'm not changing it.
No, I wouldn't.
Okay, we got down the generator. Randy, I think you're in there, okay. Annual publicity contract.
Well, can I go back
Sure.
just real quick?
Hmm?
Randy, how much does Faith do with your stuff? I know she does a lot with court,
Right.
so it might.
Very, she does the payroll,
Yeah.
which I told before. And then she does mailings for me, which isn't, it's hit and miss here and there.
Right.
So it's, you know, every 2 weeks, probably an hour. I don't know how long it takes her in the morning to do it, maybe 2 hours.
Yeah, the payroll, yeah.
Right, the payroll.
Because so far this year, she's only put in for 113.
Mhm.
So maybe it'd be better to cut it down here and move it to court or something
Right.
like that.
Because it's not
If that makes
much.
you feel better, because she's definitely picking up a lot more slack, of course, with the court.
Right.
And we've been kind of working on this since Leo anyway,
Since
Mhm.
before.
since before they all get it. Now, that's before me then,
Yeah.
where, with the different
So-
lines.
Do we have a number to talk about?
Well, if you take 2 out of it,
Yeah,
2,000 out of it, and move it to her justice's line.
to her deputy
Yeah.
justice. I'm okay with that.
And all that is moving it.
Yeah, it's just moving it, it's not cutting it.
You
Well, the clerk, highway department,
wanna take 2?
2,000 out of that and move it to her,
Move to deputy court.
wherever that is.
Yes,
Remember which one that is?
that's 11:10. Someday I'm gonna forget these numbers. I'll be so happy.
No, you won't.
11:10.
11/10/102?
Yep, 102.
Put 2 grand in there.
Yeah.
Got it.
Just trying to make it a little bit more than it should be. She'll probably be very upset with me.
Well, no, it's the same amount of money, it's just being moved from one account to the other.
Okay, publicity annual contract. There's one bill for that in these bills for tonight.
Yeah, she just had her
So
quarterly,
that's,
Yeah,
A quarter.
yeah,
Yeah.
another quarter.
was 8,000 something.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Just had the-
And that is Chamber of Commerce.
we got a letter, we got an email from the chamber.
I think I forwarded to you, they're looking for $1,500 more. Yeah. What's your feeling on that?
I'm good at 33.
I am too.
Me too.
Do the same?
that's
Yeah.
okay with me.
$6410.402.
I mean, it looks like things are looking up
Yeah, I
with
got
Donna there
that. We're gonna leave it.
Yeah,
and Jim,
Yeah.
but I want to give them another year.
Mhm.
You know, their performance in the past has not been stellar,
Just,
so,
Well, I think they're picking
And
up,
also
they're
now
also
that,
picking up membership. Like,
right, and
yeah, which is good.
one thing that I know of is they're not doing the snowmobile maps this year.
Counties.
The county's doing it.
So there's an
So there's
expense
an
they don't
expense
have.
that's not there and a whole lot of time
Right.
that's
Yeah.
not there.
Yeah,
How come they're not doing it right now?
The county wanted to
It's through Roost.
streamline it through Roost,
Yeah.
and
So there'll be more availability of them?
there should be thousands of them now.
I gave out a whole bunch of them to kids the other day, didn't
Mhm.
I? Nice map too.
And they're already out. That's the little catch is
Yeah.
how our trails change. You know, these things went to press in August. It's, you know, it is what it is. You know,
But you don't want them
if we
in
gotta change it,
February either.
right? So it doesn't. They change trails so much that it's kind of hard to keep up
Yeah.
with.
Veteran Services, we used to pay that to the VFW. Apparently they're not,
They're not. They're defunct. There's another group now, but it's
Right,
not.
but,
Adirondack.
That's flags for the,
no, this was just,
oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
for upkeep of their
Yep.
building
Yep,
or
that's what it
something,
was.
like a donation.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to pay a donation, so that was just put on there, but Bob Roll used to do that, bill that.
Bill McGuire's in charge of it now out there, I do believe, isn't
Yeah, but all we do is flags.
he? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so far, I don't know if you wanna just take that out, or if you wanna find out if they still need it, or,
I can ask him. I'll talk to him.
Well, what do you think
At
you're
least
gonna
we
say? I
think.
mean, really?
Don't take it out.
Yeah.
Don't take it out.
they didn't even take it this
When's the
year.
last time you said, nah?
Yeah.
Bob used to send a voucher, I think,
Yeah, he
before
did.
the first of the year. we
Oh, yeah, it
used
was
to
right
get-
there in
Yeah.
January, sure.
Yo, Chuck.
Randy, you can check.
Oh, Chuck.
Yeah.
Call him.
Um,
Okay, payroll.
Randolph,
What?
we're up to Parks Recs on snowmobiles.
Mm-hmm. So it obviously it went down. Don Brunish retired, a new guy came on. So,
So this
It-
drop is the difference between the
well,
salary, I mean,
well, I mean, I'm trying to figure out how to say this politely. There's a drop in salary, which is more than this, but there's an expertise level
mhm,
that is not there.
right.
Experience factor.
Experience factors.
Mhm.
So there's going to be more time, because he's not going to, whom I put out there is probably not
Mhm.
going to do it right the first time.
Mhm,
I can't call him in and say, hey, go do this, and he's gonna have it done in 4 hours and 10 minutes,
right.
like I had people down to a science before. You know, he's gonna make mistakes.
Mhm,
He's gonna have a learning curve, I guess you could call it.
mhm.
So I added some of that back in. I do believe I added either 2,500 or 3,000 back in, you know.
So was that in this number?
Yes, that number is where I feel it should be. Okay.
The 23,000?
Yeah,
So it's down to 5, okay.
it's down 5,000.
We'll add that to the contingent. Just-
Well, if you look at
Yeah,
the number next to it,
oh, yeah.
which is way low, granted, we still have all the trails to
Mhm.
and groomer work and such this fall. There should be probably, and I'm just taking a guess, at 6,000 or 7,000 of that, which can go into fund balance. Which will, will easily go into fund
Yep,
balance,
understand.
not what I'm expecting, but we'll see how this fall goes. We'll know better by the end, the last budget meeting, where things are, because we're doing trail work now, groomer work now, so now it's, the
Okay.
next month is our busy season for trails.
All right.
You put them on wheels? Practice?
No, it's the fact that 6 guys go out to clear trails, and
Yeah,
all 6 of them are now on that,
on
not
that
two.
line.
on that,
So it moves the 100 number.
yeah.
Yeah.
2% down from there. Parks and Rec, same scenario. A little bit more was taken off of there, but the Don left, and now we have a new guy. So, we're giving the 2% raises, but it's deducted out of the net of Don not being here and a new guy being here.
Right.
Parks and Rec building equipment, we are not planning on doing anything like a groomer, so that stands 0. Equipment reserve is 30,000, which is, we went from 20 to 30 last year. It hasn't hit the budget prior to that, but that's
And
the same
that's
as last year.
for,
Groomer,
okay.
that's our,
I said reserve fund.
yeah.
Just a general question.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy has to move that money.
Correct.
How does she, what tickles her to move that money? Just-
Randy does.
It's not really a tickle, just so you know.
Can we shut this thing off?
Is it on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
Good question. The 30,
I'm just curious.
yeah, the 30,000.
Well, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Randy will definitely remind.
Did you move my money?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I ask it
There
at
you
least monthly
Really?
when I get one of these reports and I see things that are still not quite right, and I'm like,
Okay.
where is that reserve money?
Okay, good.
And
And
that's
she
why I-
probably has it on that 0 to 30 number that you have. It could be there, but maybe not
Case in point,
from here.
when the truck, I gave that report for the new truck, I knew there was $110,000 in that. The reason I knew that is I annoyed Kathy until she found it. And
Okay.
that's, the truck reserve and the groomer reserve was my little pet peeve when I first started here, so
That's good.
this is the first time it's really taken effect. Or- So,
Squeaky hinge.
yeah.
Are there any other reserves that should be established?
Well, it should be, yes, there should be an equipment reserve, so we don't get into this grader situation
right.
again. I'll be very honest with
Absolutely.
that. Because we
Yeah.
have loaders and so on and so forth that are 8, 10, 12 years, well, you have the schedule, that are gonna be coming up in the next 3 or 4 years, and they're 100,000 plus.
But
There's-
even if we start
Okay.
with $5,000 in an
Something.
equipment reserve
Something.
fund, at least we've established the fund
I agree
and we're
100%.
going in the right direction.
Correct.
And maybe we could up it a little bit more when we get a better idea what this budget's gonna be. But I believe with all my heart that we should have all three of those funds. It's not just for our sake, but for the sake of future boards,
Right.
you know? It's just good
Because-
planning.
I see where.
That interest amount is baffling, you know, on the fact that we could have been 10 years ago setting forward for this.
Yep,
Everybody knew that grader was going
yep.
to run out of time after a time. It is what it is. But
It's always a give and take.
yep, it is. Bad things happened and they needed the money elsewhere, and you know. But now I like she said, Chris said, it's time to maybe move forward into it, but it's baby steps.
Yeah.
But that's DA, we're in
It's
DB,
just-
so
Yeah,
we're back on to A.
Okay. Parks and Rec contractual, 12 grand, what was last year's budget?
Correct.
What's
Now,
that?
that is, it used to be, is lawnmowers,
Chainsaw.
chainsaws, 6-wheelers.
No, 6-wheelers.
Well, the 6-wheeler was a grant, but we're not gonna get, well, we can try to get another grant for that. For bicycle trails that we have none of at this point, pretty much. But that piece of equipment is going to have to be changed. You know,
What, the
the
6-wheeler?
2004 6-wheeler.
But that would be an .2, because that would have to be
Be an equipment
an
line.
expensive piece of equipment. It's
Okay.
not like
It's-
parts,
Okay. The,
not to be anal about it.
no, that's fine. That's why you've been here a lot longer than me. It's mostly the lawnmowers, the weed whackers, the leaf blowers, the chainsaws. I mean, we have
So
2, 4, 6 chainsaws,
what line are we talking about?
2 lawnmowers,
7140.
7140, 400.
Yeah.
2 leaf blowers, 4 weed
4,400.
whackers.
44.
I mean,
Where have you?
I'm
71
not-
I'm sorry. 7140.400.
Oh, okay. So how are lawnmowers and chainsaws contractual? That's what's
That's-
confusing me.
Because that's what they call contractual, is just, it's not contracts, it's just their terminology, the state's
Oh,
terminology.
that's interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I'll have to look it up.
So, you throwing a number at us, or
Well, that,
are you happy to leave it 0?
I'm not happy to leave it zero, that I have the same number as last in there. But it's up to discussion, it's
Being there's zero in there right now,
correct.
expended. You
What do you
anticipate any
anticipate?
more expenditures in 2018?
Yeah.
That number will be at 1,000, there'll be 11,000 of that gone after tonight's meeting.
Really?
Correct. That was,
Well, there must be a chit sheet here
there's,
somewhere.
there's a groomer purchase that we okayed last meeting.
Yeah.
That should be in those zero.
So we are moving fund
0.200.
balance.
Mhm.
We are not fund balance, we are, wrong term. We are moving money over to the, equipment line, I do believe it was, from that line.
But we're not doing that yet. You're paying it out of
We're
the,
paying it out of it and it's going
out of
to
the 200,
create
and then
bells
Doing
and
a
whistles.
transfer.
and
then we'll
doing
do a
transfer.
budget transfer when she does budget
Right.
transfer.
So needless to say, $11,000 of that after tonight will be gone.
So what about
Next year,
Well, next year I don't expect any major things except for a couple, maybe one or two of the weed whackers that, you know, if worst case scenario, they blow up.
Yeah,
We
We were
it
talking
sounds-
$1,000,
$1,000,
1,000, maybe 2,000 in total, oh my gods.
So how about 4,000?
So then you're starting a fund for,
Right,
toward the,
No,
replacing the six-wheeler,
right,
right? Which,
But not on this line.
but not on
oh,
this
no,
line,
no,
right?
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we can do
right.
that.
what we would have to do is do 7140.202 if you want to have reserve equipment.
So if we do 2,000 in the
Why,
400,
why can't we just use 201
Because
as a type, not a specific?
you're gonna need a specific when he
Right.
wants to
right,
use
we went
it.
through this when we set this up.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah, when you use it,
Because
it's gotta
201's
be,
a
it
reserve
can't be
fund.
a reserve, say, equipment line. It's gotta be a reserve truck. It's very descriptive of when we
when
wanna
you
use
do the
it.
permissive referendum, you have to get it from a specific line
Right.
that's earmarked for that purpose.
So the taxpayers know that that's what we were saving it for and this is where it's going.
I know you can do it that way, but I thought you could
You don't
also.
like making lines, that's the problem, Mark.
Got me.
But if you're looking at transparency, it's so much
No, but I
better.
thought you could also classify it as machinery in general for Parks and
There's that
Rec.
other reserve type things.
And you can just pull out of there, you don't have to
We
say,
went through this when we did
No,
this.
but
We-
when it's a reserve fund,
we-
you'd have to have a public hearing
Yeah,
in order to spend any money.
If
right.
it's not
And you-
being spent for exactly what
What it specified.
Right.
it's specified for.
Right.
That's why when
Does
we
that make
made
sense?
that truck, it was written out exactly, truck,
Mhm.
plow, blah, 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 blah.
And right now, this
the other one's
Parks
a
and
groomer.
Rec Buildings contract, equipment reserve is for groomers. And
Correct.
that's the
So
specific,
that's the
Right.
specific item that it's in there for.
right, so that's why we can't do that.
And when
So
you
you'd have
look
to
up,
go back and do 202.
okay,
Can we change the name of that .201 to Parks and Rec Groomers?
sure,
yeah. I'd like to
I
do
think that would make a
Yep.
lot more sense and
Groomer
be easier
reserve.
for everybody to understand. Right, groomer reserve,
instead of equipment.
right.
Right.
And then 202 would be Parks and Rec equipment
Okay,
Mhm.
gotcha.
reserve.
Correct.
But do you want to specify that
Not
as?
reserve, just Parks and Rec equipment.
Side by side.
I
Well,
thought
he
you
wanted to
wanted
put
to
it in
set up
reserve.
as a reserve.
Oh,
Under 202?
Mhm.
Correct.
Yes. So if we would take that contractual, make it $2,000. Okay, line 400.
Mhm.
And put, say,
2,000 in that other one? In the reserve?
I was gonna go 6, but,
don't push your luck, Randy.
okay. Whatever you
Okay,
guys
Parks
come
and
up
Rec
with.
equipment, you said 2,000?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Why don't you wanna do 4, so it's 6 total?
Well, yeah, 4 will take us 4 years, 5 years to, replace, what's that?
How much?
If we do
The
$4,000 a
Two
year.
thousand and dot four hundred.
It's 18 and change for the
So
US.
4,000 for the new
2,000.
The new
equipment
budget line dot
Reserve.
202.
Mm-hmm,
and 2,000
$2,000
for
for
the
4
lawnmower,
and
right.
weed whacker.
2 and 2? Okay.
Dot
So-
202.
4 and 2.
What are we
202
gonna call 202?
In that, are you
4 and
considering
2?
the six?
Yeah.
202 is it, what's the
Yes,
equipment
that's for the
reserve?
4.
Wacky reserve?
Wacky reserve, yeah, equipment
That's-
reserve.
The only reason why I said that is
Changing
the name of that.
hand equipment, which will take care of the lawnmowers and.
Yeah,
Then
but that
change it
would be
like
down here,
this.
this 2,000 one.
Kathy's gonna have to make some
This
lines.
4.
Yeah, that's it. Annual.
I don't
thing.
feel so
This
bad
is,
now.
So we're going 2 there,
Right.
I missed the other one. There was 2,000 somewhere else?
No,
2,000 on the
That one.
.4
Point.
and
We're making a
4,000 on
202
the
line.
202.
And then
They're making
2,000 on the 202.
4,000.
4,000 and 202.
Not 6.
Okay, we done there?
Yep.
Can we go to .404? I'm just curious why you expect to spend about $2,000 less for gas and oil next year.
Because I didn't spend it this year.
Oh, okay.
It's in
It's
the-
You
going up?
expect that actual to go up, huh?
Yes, there's going to be, going back to that inexperience, there's going to be a little bit more,
Yeah.
but,
You still
It's-
have a couple of months worth of whatever's.
right, but not, the 6-wheeler doesn't burn that much, and if, heaven forbid, we get a crap load of snow, I
Okay.
don't think we're gonna be doing that much.
Just curious.
So, no, I was just trying to be nice to the budget as much as I can.
That's
We
diesel
like
too,
that.
isn't it?
Whoa, Randy.
Boy, is he hamming it up. That's diesel,
minute.
isn't it?
I can only lift my feet.
What's that?
That's diesel also.
Yes,
And
for
diesel is
Parks and Rec,
expensive.
yes.
And .407, Parks and Rec rental equipment, what kind of stuff do we rent?
That,
Have,
I thought you had
That
every piece of equipment
excavator.
under the sun.
no, we don't have it.
Feels like it.
Oh, here we go. So, that 2,500 that is not getting spent this year,
Okay.
fund balance, so you know, is an excavator rental. 1 month's excavator rental if we have to move trails around. The trail that I thought we were gonna have to move around this year
Mhm.
is going to next year now.
Okay, thank you.
So, that is basically fund balance in, going back out.
Okay,
I will not be using that $2,500 this year on that rental line.
Do you want a 0?
No.
Just try it.
Or is it?
it must be pick on
No.
Randy.
I wanna see the
Oh, we haven't
0.
even gotten into DA yet, and DB.
Thank God,
that's
that's
next week.
another day.
So now youth stuff, not me.
Huh?
Youth.
Ute?
Ute.
Ute. You're looking at me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why you looking at me? Well, the 2%. Programs. I got an email from Sammy last night. She broke her toes and her foot, and she was gonna try to come today, but anyway. She said that Oak is raising its prices for, I'm not sure if it'll be for the Christmas time period, or if it's probably their season. They're gonna be raising their prices. And, so that line, I would definitely say we should possibly raise a little bit more, definitely
0.401.
possibly.
I didn't know you were walking with a cane.
What'd you do?
Shouldn't be allowed for anybody under 70, you know.
It's, boy,
Okay, so what about .400, Nancy?
the youth programs.
Right. Isn't there something going on there with us not getting reimbursement or something? Or other towns jumping on
That's,
and not paying?
Dickie always did use some of the youth money for the summer basketball
$1,000
camp.
of the youth money, yeah.
And $1,000 for shirts.
$1,000 for camp plus $1,000 for shirts?
No, $1,000 toward the youth summer basketball camp, and that money was used for shirts, I guess. And that came out of his budget. Now Samantha's doing her own thing, which doesn't include that.
Right.
I met with the school and pretty much pitched that how come Lake Pleasant is contributing toward this and Wells, Arietta, and Indian Lake, who have kids go there too, aren't. So since we talked to them, apparently Sheila, who's the head of the youth program in Arietta, is going to contribute to this cost. And I would hope that the other towns do too, because their kids are going there also. Well, thanks for bringing dinner.
It's all right, it doesn't bother us. You can sit right here.
Is there enough for everybody?
I'd like to think that we should add $1,000 to her budget for the purpose of buying those shirts, because she has other things that she's worked on. And then if we get money, because we have no way of knowing if we're going to get any help at all from Arietta. I mean, she said she's gonna, but we don't have a figure what she will help.
Well, it's
Indian
not part of
Lake
her,
and Wells.
this isn't, that summer basketball camp isn't part of her youth program.
I know that, so then.
So why are we adding $1,000 to the youth program to cover something that's not part of her?
Well, where are we paying for it from if we're paying for it from?
I'm wondering why we're even paying for it. If
Well, that's been my argument for like, as long as we've been doing it, but,
well, that's why I met with Heather about it. I said, this isn't part of our youth program.
so we're just dropping it then?
I'm not, it's up for discussion.
There's not gonna be a basketball camp this
Yeah,
year?
there always
There
is.
There is
gonna
gonna be one, but Sammy's not gonna be involved in it.
Sammy's not involved with
She
that at
wasn't
all.
involved with
So-
it to begin with.
So Dick was just taking money out of his youth program fund and giving it to the school to do this basketball
Dick
thing.
was doing youth rec for way too long, and it was an easy way to spend his budget, quite honestly.
That was
You didn't hear me say
his youth program. Samantha's doing something different.
Why do $1,000 for shirts?
There you go. Thank you very much. I've argued, like I said, I've argued this every
How
single
many
year.
kids go to that basketball camp?
80.
80, okay.
Well,
But the point is, my beef is that why should the town of Lake Pleasant be paying for shirts when it's
oh,
not?
I agree.
Do we know?
Heather tried to explain to me that about 75% of the kids are from the town of Lake Pleasant. Not just kids here, but summer kids.
Mm-hmm.
And she pleaded that these are kids that come here specifically then so they can go to the basketball camp. And it should come from the town of Lake
Now,
Pleasant.
is Heather involved with this basketball camp? I mean, is it through the school or how?
It's done through the school. Jonathan,
Well, I know
Swift is-
Jonathan and Donna Wilbur, the two
Yeah.
of them. And Jonathan got Dickie to pay for those shirts.
But-
But I'm just trying to, if we decide not to pay for the shirts, then we're just gonna tell them we're not gonna pay for the shirts. I mean, that's it, right? I mean,
I think it should be up for discussion on
mhm.
whether we contribute, whether it should be part of the youth program or not.
Well, that's 80 kids at $1,000 is $12.50 a shirt. So I guess that's not as extreme as I thought it was. But
That's
if
not extreme.
we're only 75% of the kids, then that's 60 kids, right?
In the conversation I had with her, Jonathan suggested that maybe we pay 50% of the cost of the shirts, so.
There you go, let's cut it to 500.
So,
That resolves that one, let's move on.
but should we add $500 to her budget that she has
For what though?
for shirts?
It's not in this budget now?
No, it's not in
No, it's
it.
not in there.
Ah, okay.
That's what I was explaining, it's not part of Samantha's youth program.
Okay, yeah, you did say that, I just wasn't
Yeah,
catching on.
yeah.
So if
The
we
question
change her
is now,
youth.
do we pay 500 or do we pay nothing?
Mhm.
Why do they need shirts?
Yeah, that.
Kumbaya,
They always
right?
get shirts, they get basketballs.
What do they do with the money that they take in from these? You said something about $50 or
There's
$60
$55 per person, but if you have another sibling from the same family, the second one's only $35. I'm not sure how.
No,
they
but what do
figure
they
it.
do with that money?
That's all gone toward the cost of the counselors coming, them staying, eating, the people.
Coaches,
Yeah, it's
Bob, you know-
it's a pretty big undertaking. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't participate in it. I know I pay for grandkids to do it.
I'm just going by what I'm told. I've
As
never
you
been
should.
to it. Yeah.
So I'm in that
So maybe-
$55, $30, or 35 or whatever it was, I'm in that.
She requested 6,500 for next year for
Oh,
programs.
she wants to put $1,500 already?
Huh?
I mean, it was 5,000, wasn't it?
It was 6
No, it was
according to this.
6,000.
Oh, it was, okay, it was 6, okay.
So
that's
she
right.
added 500, so maybe make it 7,000 and figure the shirts would be, pay half
why
of the
does
shirt.
she need an extra 500 over the
I
6?
wish she was here to,
Why don't we leave it alone for right now and ask her?
okay.
All right, because I'm just curious. And every dollar counts, you know?
Those
I'm
days are
just
six-
curious if she has, you know, I mean, she did a hell of a job last year. And
I know, that's,
There must be something else she wants to add to that this year, I would guess.
I guess. And Oak Mountain's gonna go up. And that was all I heard, was that their rates were gonna go up. I didn't
No.
She needs to
hear,
come back to us and let's
So
see.
we're gonna have to know what that final figure is too.
right,
While we're talking there, Nancy, you got a note on here, upcoming dance lessons, golf lessons,
right,
$3,450.
yeah,
I'm-
that's what
did
she
I miss that
has.
when I
No,
walked
no, thank you for that, because I don't have that sheet of mine with, well, it's here someplace, but, that, I asked her about the, why the youth program line was low, and she was telling me that the dance lessons were coming and the, golf. We hadn't gotten the bill for the
Oh,
golf yet.
to be expended.
To be, yeah, so
Okay.
she spent, like
Not a-
$1,100 so far, and,
Okay, not over the
What
6,000.
else to go with?
No.
Okay, okay.
Golden voice the last time, maybe not.
Do you guys want to stop now, or?
I've gotta go get the bills. We gotta set this room up for 7 o'clock.
Well, we're almost through.
yeah, and B is
It's
short.
very close.
Well, I wouldn't even bother with B. Let's just finish what up with A.
Mhm.
Youth program supplies, I can see that because she's been doing so much more with them.
Right. Well, the program supplies also, that's, yeah. A lot of that is for, the summer program, and she wanted
Yeah.
to do more with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. And why are we going down on historian contractual?
I'm sorry?
On line 400, custodian contractual, we're going down,
250.
going down 50% mark. Not that it's a lot of money, I'm just curious.
Mark would have that.
Let me find it.
Isn't that the computers that she,
And here's Flags
Oh, yeah.
Memorial Day.
that's the computers that she keeps putting in for, and then she
I
never
did
buys
that.
them.
She,
Yeah,
I
That's
don't
what
think
it
she
is.
really has a clue on,
no, and even when I was working there, she was supposed to
Okay.
come in and discuss with me what she
Don't
needed, and
get
she
me
never
wrong,
did.
I really feel she needs to get a laptop so we don't have to keep moving her computer every spring and fall. But that way she can just pull the laptop up and go.
And
My,
they're cheap.
every year we move
Yeah.
All
the
right, I
monitor,
see
the
this
printer, to this, to
402 is
that, everything
Flags
out to her
Memorial
house and
Day.
then back.
Mhm.
Didn't we just
In
discuss
spring of
Flags
the year,
as part of
it's
Veteran
retarded.
So you're
Service?
saying-
But no,
Let's
Veteran
spend
Services
But Randy-
was
but
a
Randy, the
contribution
problem
like for their
is,
building or
when you say
whatever.
go
Oh,
get this,
okay.
This
she has no
is
idea
for
what
the flags
she's
for
looking
Memorial
at
Day.
and gets confused and doesn't do anything.
So,
So,
And I believe Randy also uses that when he has to replace the flags on the poles.
Correct.
I don't know what all she has on there, but I would think it's
Okay.
$600 computer.
That is exactly
to be able
the-
to do.
So this
what
year, I
she
guess
needs,
he
I
didn't
think. I mean,
have
I don't know what
to.
she does.
adult
She's never spent
recreation
it.
is the bus.
Really?
Yep.
we keep budgeting for it, but she never,
Every year.
But the thing is, not that I'm supposed to say anything, but I think a lot of times when she orders, Faith does color cartridges all the time in hers. It probably just comes out of my lines for office supplies.
Ooh.
Annie.
Yeah, don't-
Annie goes to color cartridges like,
They're going out of style.
yeah,
Well, any of those colored
Yeah.
printers do.
so I'm just wondering if like it's coming out of our office supplies and not
Could be.
specifically.
A lot would depend on
I'm thinking
if
that's,
it's caught, you know, by.
that's what I'm thinking maybe.
I would love to see that.
And the adult recreation meal site, same idea as like the vets. That's to have the meal site at there. The town gives money towards that.
So I take it 402 has now become 401? Is that why there's nothing on 402?
No, 402 was the meal run contract, when we used to have someone,
We used
we
to
were
pay somebody to go down and
paying
get that.
Paul Cleveland to do that.
Right.
And same thing with the vehicle.
And the
Okay,
vehicle
so,
for that
It's
underneath it,
gone.
that's gone.
so it's gonna be 0.
Zero.
Yeah,
Zero.
so
Zero.
those are, see all this money, Mark, you're.
Hey, Mark, you can get rid of those lines.
Okay.
I don't touch that.
I don't know, I don't know if
Actually,
I'd get rid of the lines.
The account clerk.
you can't,
Right.
because you have to
Mark,
keep the history.
You're forever. No,
Don't-
no,
yeah,
no, no, no.
because
I would-
If the Office
I
of
would not-
Aging changes something
Oh,
again, we
yeah.
could be back
Don't-
in the same boat.
And not only that, you have to keep it for the history of it all.
Right. That's the trouble, once it's in there.
Yep. Sorry,
That's why I
Mark.
don't like to do it.
Got it?
All right, I don't see where there's anything else that we'd be able to make any changes in anyway. The next two budget lines have gone down considerably. There's no more post-closure monitoring?
Yes, there is.
There is.
Yes, but after next year, that cost will be in half of what we've
So
spent.
we don't know
But
what it
nothing
is
was
for this year.
paid, oh, because it's paid out of B.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
Yeah,
why.
it's
paid
not
out
out
of
of
B.
It's out of
Okay.
B. I know, I saw that number somewhere.
It took me a second to think of that.
But we'll be down to one monitor a year
Mhm.
starting
Okay.
next year.
The,
And milfoil survey equipment?
No, we haven't done that.
on the 81 6100.
81, 6100.
Yeah.
Oh, I know why that went down, because Lynn's gonna
Lynn's
retire.
That's retired.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she will
Why that
have
one
to
down?
be placed at least for this next year full-time.
Right, so I dropped it from 46,
Yeah.
7 to 38.
What, say that again?
Did you tell Mark you did that? when you-
At least for a year, we're still gonna have to supply a full-time employee.
Matter of fact, you
If we
came
go
up
to
with
single
questions
source
on it. Yes, I
recycling,
did.
we'd probably get away with
trying to
one
be
part-time
nice.
person.
I saw a video for that, that's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
yeah.
It's much appreciated.
Okay, DOT 200 Lake milfoil survey equipment. We don't need to buy any more equipment, is that?
No.
No.
No, unless we get, is that the
I
decon
think
unit?
that was supposed to be for the
Yeah, I
Your-
think it was.
The
boat
D-
wash thing.
Yeah, if we don't get more than one person from the state, we may have that for sale. Because we're not gonna have anybody to man it.
That's just gonna be sitting there.
I heard they're not very kind.
And we're done with general
First
fund
go
A,
around.
right?
Well, don't get crazy.
Maybe we can make it coin operated.
We'll supply the coin.
Mm-hmm. Lake stewards retirement is,
Hey, I'll volunteer for that job some days.
the retirement one, did you see the projections from retirement system?
No.
You probably should have come in the mail,
Yeah.
because those come.
They're going down.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're true. Well, they might,
Well,
because I
it's possible.
retired and I was a
Well,
big high tier, good
It's been a
tier.
good stock market
Lynn's
here.
retiring.
So there's-
And-
Lynn's
Yeah.
retiring, Don's
Should.
retiring.
Oh, yeah, I
Retired.
agree.
Might go down.
Common sense tells you
See?
they should be.
See, it's not retiring.
Oh, that's right, that's next year.
Yeah, but the state of New York keeps raising the
Okay.
rates so that,
I'm
Okay.
gonna run and get the
And probably
bills.
rating the funds.
State.
I'm gonna go get the bills and so.
The
we
big
get this
ol'-
set.
The only thing we haven't really discussed, which has a big impact here, is,
Hospital medical.
there
Medical.
you go.
but
Big.
that's,
And
We're
that's
reading on the 22nd.
second, 9 o'clock,
Did he resubmit or is he
he's bringing.
bringing new stuff?
So let's just leave that as an open
Yeah.
question.
So how do you wanna do this going forward? We only scheduled a couple hours for next Monday.
Good
Randy will
luck
eat
with
up like 4.5 of that.
Oh, no, I think
We're just gonna have
Well,
to,
we don't have a meeting following it, so we just go till it's done.
Yeah,
You wanna move it from 7 back
Is
to
that the
4?
work, you wanna work it that way?
well, it's hard for
I
Bob.
don't wanna work it that way, but
Well,
How about 5?
It's already been
Five.
advertised.
if you wanna, I'll push it in to get another
Yeah,
hour off.
Being that we got such a crowd.
We've
for
already
this one.
advertised.
advertise it at 7 o'clock, right?
Yeah, that's right.
that's right.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
7 it is.
I didn't think we'd have a pool of people
I'm gonna
interested.
leave this right here.
You will when you
Unless-
get
Not
my
when they
numbers.
can't comment.
Right,
I had
that is
people
key.
asking me if they can comment,
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Nope.
And they're like, well, why would
Well, I
I?
told them
No.
to say,
Because
well,
you have a public
Hearing.
hearing.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm
That's
telling
what
you.
I tell people.
Write it, take notes and write it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, you'd be
Stop.
here the whole month.
Yeah.
You think?
Hey, Gary?
We can stop it.
Easy.
And B is nothing. That's why I said we could go through B easily.
Yeah, well, except that Dan has to go get stuff together for the meeting.
Well, just so you know, my chicken bird cheddar was awesome.
Awesome, right?
anybody wanna buy my protein bar? 20 grams.
Deb, we have to get a wife.
We gotta get something, Nance.
Yep.
So can we just leave the table the way it is, and if I just move over there?
Works for me.
Yeah.
Because we don't need this.